Yeah, this was it was a fun journey.
Yeah.
It was like going through Mr. Slave's butt. But otherwise it was okay. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm a little bit tired just because I didn't sleep enough, but it's still I got 5 hours more sleep than I was hoping to get last night. Because the marathon was interrupted by technical issues, so that bummed me out. But we're back, stronger than ever. We have about 9 more hours to go if I'm gonna complete the 24 hours. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you? What's new?
Um well, let's see. Have we started?
Yes. Yeah, we are live. We've already begun recording for the last few minutes, even.
Well, I'm Vinny and
Hi,
that's
Vinny.
KY.
And this is...
Two on the vine.
Welcome.
This
Uh,
is it's sleep deprivation edition and
Kinda.
frustration edition.
Mostly frustration. I feel alright. Like, I just feel like I didn't get enough sleep as opposed to, holy shit, I've been up for 23 hours, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to tweet about this with
Oh, yeah.
live with KY
Okay, why? You're gonna
doing
say it, why?
two on the
After
Vine.
after the Bob Ross revolution, it's K, why?
KY?
KY.
Titanium KY.
Titanium, why? What? Let me, I'll retweet that. Live tweeting, guys. We're just gonna sit here on our phones just tweeting shit for the next 2 hours and talking about what we're tweeting and retweeting, and it's gonna be the best episode ever.
It'll be just like Joe Rogan's podcast.
Is that what they do?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it. I heard him when he was a guest on Smodcast, but I haven't actually checked out his own podcast. So
He's good. He just had Bill Burr on his podcast. Bill
yeah.
Burr's one of my favorite comedians. He is a genius in many respects, and in other respects, he's a total asshole. But they're always fun together. Joe Rogan has good chemistry with some people.
Did they
So,
talk about lots of drugs?
you know what? Not Bill Burr. Bill Burr more. He likes to talk about helicopters,
Yeah.
sports, comics, and I guess music, right?
Okay.
But then Joe Rogan has some people on where they'll just talk about drugs and muscle gain and swole and like DMT. Yeah, it's very different from the podcast you and I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when he was on the Kevin Smith podcast, it was mostly drugs. Like, I'd say a solid 80% was drugs. And, like, I've got nothing major against drugs. I mean, I do like meth and PCP, but that's it.
Right, that's it.
That's it. And, yeah, I mean, they just, the whole time, like, to the point where it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, just change the subject. Yet here we are
That's
talking
the
video games for 80% of it, but we prep
well,
you
we
for
we
that.
talk about some other stuff, but that's the thing. We're a video game podcast. He's not a drug podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing too is Joe Rogan trains. You know, he's a UFC commentator. He's a dude that's very healthy. He eats kale. He's very about fitness. And then you find out like he knows all this shit about drugs and he's a big pothead, and he still manages to keep himself motivated and healthy. And it's like, but yeah, he's pretty good. His podcasts are entertaining and they're not as good as ours, I don't think. But he's all right.
But very few are.
Well, speaking of, what's on the agenda today, KY? What are we going to talk about?
Man, so we are way behind on this episode. This is over a month since the
Yeah.
last episode. We're probably a month behind just on the due date for the following episode of the previous one. Like, we were supposed to do Spooky Stories Part 2 since it was still just barely after Halloween, and that's still okay, right? Well, now Thanksgiving has come and gone. So what we're going to do is we're going to read these spooky stories, and we're going to replace whatever the big bad is in the story with a turkey.
Okay.
And that will make it okay, I think.
How about a Santa?
Maybe a turkey Santa. Or Santa will be the lingering bits, because Santa's coming, but turkey's come and gone, so turkey will be the forefront, I think.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, like the cliffhanger endings will all involve Santa. The turkey will involve the the moving parts, the actual driving force behind the stories.
The MacGuffin. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
For those listening at home, like after the fact, we are doing this live, so we'll probably take a Q&A at some point for fun.
Yeah.
One thing I would say is less serious questions this time around, maybe, because we get caught up in the serious questions. They can take a long time to answer.
Yeah.
I mean, not that we mind them, but...
I'll try to be a little more brief, too, with answers. But,
Yeah.
I mean, definitely video game-related questions or stuff like that is always good.
Yeah. Well, we could keep our answers shorter than 140 characters. That, I think, is enough characters.
That would be great. It'll feel like a live tweet. Okay.
Yeah. But so basically for the agenda we have options. We could do spooky stories since we still have a lot left, or not even a lot, but some of them. We also have a couple things that have happened over the last month, like the Nintendo Direct. We could talk about. We could talk about Fallout, obviously, as well as just upcoming games, I guess, because holiday season and stuff. Xenoblade comes out in a day or two. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, or just whatever. Have you been doing anything in real life in meat space? What have you been up to?
Well, good things are good. I have a new guitar pedal called the Pitchfork, which is a fantastic thing, and it's really great.
Was it?
I don't.
Is it a pitching thing?
Yeah, it's a pitch device, but it also has harmonies, an up and down harmony. So you can give it not just an octave, but you can do like a third, a fifth, but you can do just one up, one down, or both. Really nice. It's electro harmonics. They make good pedals. I've been doing that. Other than that, we've got one song left to record for the album. Then we're in mixing mode. So that's exciting. I'm very happy about that.
How long has that album been in development now? Has it been over a year?
We walked into the studio in March. About
really?
March,
It feels like so much longer. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's 9 months almost. And so it's been a while. It's been a huge chunk of my life, and we're still not done with it. And it's going well. And we got my friend Billy, who's an amazing pianist. I had to say that exactly right because everyone laughs at that word. And I do too.
It sounds like penis, you see?
I thought it sounded like
cock. I wasn't sure if you knew why people thought it was funny, but it's
I couldn't get it.
It sounds like penis.
We're grown-ups. So I enjoyed his work. Okay, here's a true story for anyone who's stuck around for a while, who's seen some of my old videos. You probably have, Adam.
Yeah, of course.
Bartender. Doc need another drink. The bartender is my friend Billy, who is one of the best keyboardists and multi-instrumentalist I've ever seen in my life. So that's Bartender. We're still friends to this day, and he's a good dude. And other than that, I'll tell you what's been going on with the computer in very light speed.
140 characters. Go.
Wanted to upgrade CPU.
Okay.
Had to get motherboard. Got CPU, got motherboard. Windows 7 on my hard drive was incompatible with motherboard.
Okay, that's more 140.
Oh, fuck. All right.
Fucked up. All right, well, tweet number 2. Keep going.
Okay, I'm almost done. Could not access computer for a day and a half with help from people such as John, Darren, Paul, Erica, and who else? Bob Ross. Thank you, Bob Ross. And actually a few other people too, believe it or not. I was able to get up and running. I had to buy a copy of Windows 10. So I'm on a new install of Windows. I am not in streaming mode yet, but maybe tonight I will be. It's been a mess. I've been doing computer stuff, but basically I have all my data, all my songs, all the stuff I need. But I've just been out of commission for a while, so now I'm back. It's going to take a while to get up 100%. Like I said, audio in and of itself has been like a 5-hour process, but I sound okay, so I'm happy, and it's good to be back. And this podcast was definitely delayed a lot, but it feels good to be on a computer, to be talking with you right now, and to be able to actually interact with an audience again. So it's only been a few days, but my God, I miss it. So it's good to be back, and I'm okay now, but it's going to take some time. So That's my computer story. It sucked. All right. So there you go.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
have it, folks. That was a great episode, and so we'll see episode 16, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Later.
How about you? What's new with you?
Nothing really. We ordered pizza last night. I've been doing so. For those who are unaware, I was doing a 24-hour stream, and the plan was to record this in like the last 3 hours. So you just have this stupid sleep-deprived KY, and that didn't happen. Around hour 14, I inexplicably lose connection to the stream and can't go live, and having all these issues. I dicked with it for about 45 minutes and then said, "Fuck it, I'm going to bed." It was like 6 a.m. So I just got some sleep and then woke up, and now the issues seem fine, so I'm doing the remaining 10 hours of the 24-hour stream. Still a little bit sleepy, but yeah, I don't know. Not what we were expecting, so I'm mildly bummed out, but what are you going to do? Otherwise, nothing new, really. I mean, just... What?
What kind of pizza did they give you?
Oh, yeah, so we ordered pizza. We did straw poll votes, so the top 5... Basically, I put all the toppings in a straw poll, and the top 5 votes won. Same thing with the pizza sauce. We did a straw poll on it. We just did straw poll the whole thing. So, the pizza was garlic parmesan sauce, extra garlic parmesan sauce, triple cheese. I'm not even kidding. Triple cheese. 5 toppings, each of which were double. So there was double jalapenos, double hot sauce, double bacon, double pineapple, and double pepperoni.
The fuck?
Um,
Sorry. These are not toppings that mesh.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, people are divided about the pineapple. I kind of like pineapple on pizza if it's not like a gourmet artesian pizza. If it's like shitty Domino's or Papa John's or something, I kind of like pineapple. But point is, how much do you think it cost me?
I don't know, like $35.
See, I was expecting that. It was $13. I'm not even kidding. Because Domino's had like some kind of 50% deal going on, and I don't know why, but I guess they also weren't charging for toppings in that deal because it was just 50% off list price menu pizza. I just got custom pizza, and that was that. Oh, there were dipping sauces too that were voted on. You ready for these dipping sauces?
Yeah.
So, I ordered 3 dipping sauces. There was a list of about 12 of them. The 3 that won are icing, as in like dessert icing, and I had to dip my pizza in it. That my gross like jalapeno bacon triple cheese garlic parmesan pizza. I dipped it in frosting, icing, and ate it. Just one bite because it was gross.
I'm feeling pretty sick right now.
Yeah. The second one was mango habanero, which I think sounds good in concept, but was actually terrible. It was too sweet, too mango-y, not enough habanero-y.
Okay.
At least I expected the icing to taste like dicks. The mango habanero I thought would at least be serviceable, and it was bad. And then the third dipping sauce was St. Jude's donation.
What?
Because on the Domino's order page,
Uh-huh.
when you go to their dipping sauces, their list, they list about 12 dipping sauces, and then the last item in the grid just says St. Jude's donation. You click it,
Sweet Jesus.
it adds on an up to $10 donation to St. Jude's to your order.
So you got that?
Yeah, that was the first place dipping sauce. Actually, that was the number
How much
one.
did you donate to St. Jude?
$10.
Very good.
Because I figured, and that was the max. I don't know. There might have been a custom amount thing, but that was the max of the suggested things. It was like $1, $2, $5, $10. So it's like $10. Especially because the pizza was only 13, so it's like, why the fuck not? So I donated $10 to St. Jude's, got my pizza and 2 dipping sauces for just $23 total, and I guess $7 tip. So I still spent 30, but I thought that was gonna be the baseline for a shitty pizza, and instead I feel good about donation, and that included tip. So it was a success overall, other than the shits it gave me, but.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, hey, the shits for kids. You're donating to St. Jude's, and you're getting the shits. So, I mean, it's better than just the shits.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, that is fantastic. That sounds. I'm sorry, that sounds like a big sloppy mess of a pizza, but I'm glad you're alive.
Actually, I mean, as far as Domino's goes, it wasn't awful. You know, I mean,
Right.
I almost feel like that's the secret to making a Domino's pizza good or decent, I should say, instead of just cardboard with ketchup. Um, is to use triple cheese and like medium to extra sauce. Like I think the triple cheese is what made it like okay, but it was definitely a catastrophe of double toppings and donations and icing.
And donations.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, hey, that's wow. Um, there's you've been streaming for a while. You did a lot of streaming last night, and I
Uh-huh.
managed to catch only a little bit of it while I was busy
Hmm.
trying to make my life less shitty. And I have to say, even as much as you did stream last night, first of all, the fact that you were able to stream after the pizza, that's commendable. But well, I was gonna actually ask you, like, how did you enjoy the endurance aspect of a long stream? Did you
Uh,
actually find yourself getting to the point where you're like, this sucks, or were
no.
you challenged by it?
It was a challenge, and in retrospect, because the hard part was last night. I'm still doing 10 more hours today, but the hard part was the lack of sleep, and the last night's was the hard part. So, and I'll explain what I think I could have done better. But for the most part, I did some things to keep it interesting. First off, I didn't do one game for 24 hours. Like I know Rev did Motocross, and I can't even fathom how he did that for 24 hours straight.
He's
But
just iron constitution.
like even if I did one of my favorite games like Splunky or Isaac for 24 hours, I guarantee I'd be sick of it after like 8 or 9. 100% guarantee.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So the variety really helped. I also did some fun things to break it up, such as the pizza ordering. I also did an energy drink review. I got 5 different energy drinks. I'm currently working on the third, so I'm still going through them, just because the break that happened.
Yeah.
Um, so reviewing energy drinks as we go along to make it fun. And I forget what else. Just really interesting, different types of games, like stuff that the viewers can interact with, and a big variety of things really kept the monotony from going off. So by the end, even though I was getting really tired, and then the technical difficulties were just like the nail in the coffin, I was still there was no point where I was just like, "Fuck this! I'm never doing it again." You know.
Right.
A couple things I do different. One, I turned off the light and had just like a dim light on in the room starting at around midnight or so. So by the time I hit 5, 6 a.m., that kind of got to me. I should have kept the light on or something. I also had Flux on, so those who know what Flux is, they probably know why that's a bad
It's
thing.
the light dimming thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have disabled that for the whole thing so that the computer screen would actually keep me awake or help keep me awake. So it was, I don't know, too chill. But that's okay. So those are some things I do different during the hard portion. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do the pizza again next time, but yeah.
I don't think you should. You should try like Chinese food, and just try to like have people pick out
Can you customize Chinese food? Like,
well, you can do like vote. Here's the menu. Like, find me 3 items, whatever gets the most votes. And then just you'll get sick. It's like
I'll still get
lobster,
sick. Yeah.
lobster in crab bisque sauce with shrimp tartare, and it's gonna be like, oh, that sounds good, and yeah.
Yeah,
So.
for those saying Vinny sounds like shit, I think it's just Skype because I'm streaming and hosting the call. I don't know if
that's
maybe
true.
maybe
That's
if you
true.
call me, I don't know if that changes the host and thus might be better. Do you want to try calling
Well,
me?
I'll give you a call. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Okay. Hello?
Hi. Keep in
Hi.
mind though, you heard me before. There's
Yeah.
definitely some audio problems, but we'll just deal with this for now, and then I'm gonna talk to Darren's been helping me, but I'll talk to Gearomatic and see if he's got any suggestions too.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it just sounds like
yeah.
the usual Skype derps, to be totally
Yeah,
honest.
but usually when we do two on the Vine, it sounds pretty decent. So
Yeah,
there's
but
definitely
normally
some
we're
audio
not
stuff.
broadcasting too. We're not streaming normally.
True, true. I'll still next time I'll try to have this better, but it sounds the same for most people. That's okay. Um, well, let's move on and talk about some video games for a bit.
Okay.
Because I feel like that would be a good way to start, and then we'll maybe get to those scary stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just wanted to mention that it's been a pretty good past few months for games.
Yeah.
I've been really having a lot of fun with Fallout. Just Cause 3 I played, and that's really good. Uh,
No, you said that right. For some reason, I thought you said that weird. Okay, keep going.
that's been really good. And yeah, and of course Call of Duty Black Ops 3. How could you forget about that?
Oh yeah.
So it's
No, that's the best game that's ever been made. So it would take a lot to forget it.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. So why don't we talk a little bit about Fallout to start, since we're already kind of
Okay.
in video game mode. How are
Sure.
you enjoying Fallout overall?
I think it's great. And I know that's gonna sound like a totally knee jerk thing because it's been so hyped, but I really do think it's really good.
Well, how hyped were you when before the game came out?
Well, that's the thing. I didn't hype myself too much. Like even as release approached, I didn't feel too much about it. It wasn't like Metal Gear 5 or anything like that. Like I was excited, but not crazy hyped. Like maybe a day or two before I started to really feel the hype. But I wasn't hyping myself for years or months or anything like that. So that
Sure.
might be why I have such a positive reception to it. But I also feel like I can back up my positivity with a lot of in-game examples. Not to say it's flawless, of course. It has a lot of flaws, but almost most games do. Uh, but yeah, overall, I think it's great. How about you?
Yeah, I like it. I've had problems with it, and I've had pacing issues with it too. But
Hmm.
generally, it's been a lot of fun. It's just the thing that Bethesda does right is they make it fun to get lost in their worlds.
Yeah,
And despite what some people would call downgrades to the previous games, like especially Oblivion, like with the dialogue choices,
yeah,
I think it still has a lot of that magic. It's definitely got some problems with glitches. Paladin Dance was stuck in the T pose. Like he kept every time I looked at him, it was as if I had scored a field goal. So that's a problem. But other than that, there was minor glitches, and then of course the dog would like glitch through shit. But no, it's been a lot of fun, and that's one of the main reasons I upgraded that, and to future proof my system so that I could stream Fallout and Just Cause and stuff and actually play it at good quality.
right.
So the game doesn't look as good as some people want it to look, and I understand that,
Hmm.
but I think it still has a good art style in terms of like the world.
Other than the
Some
character models, which are largely still really bad in my
not
opinion.
that good.
The
They're not
faces
that
in
good.
particular, like the
The
bodies I
face,
could live with.
yeah,
The faces are awful. I feel.
agreed. No, I agree, 100%. There are some things that look great, which are like like the synths look good, and
Yeah,
some of the bodies look good. The outfits look pretty good. Power armor looks good.
Nick looks really
Enemies
good
look
in
good.
particular. His face
Uh,
and the way like his neck is giving way to like the synth spine and like I like Nick's model really good. And some models are passable, but there's just a lot of like really weird. I don't know. It's not even a stylistic thing because the game isn't going for hyper realistic. Like it's going on the more realistic side, but there's still a lot of exaggerations. Uh, but
Honestly, they should have just made every character in the game a synth, and no one would have complained.
dude, that would be a great plot twist. Like it turns out that the humans are all dead. That a really high model level of synth was rolled out just before the nuclear war, or maybe when after everyone was put in vaults, or I don't know. Or
Yeah, and that's why
even if
everyone
it
looks
was
like
just
ass.
maybe even if it was just Vault 111, like even if maybe on the surface the cover up is cryogenic freezing and seeing the effects, and then there's an even deeper hidden clearance that was replacing those real people with synth models and implanted memories. That would be a killer plot twist, especially because you
Yeah.
get to Diamond City and they start to ramp up the whole synth scare. Like, what is really a synth? Are they really beings type thing, like Blade Runner? Yeah.
I think where probably in similar spots in the story. So I don't know how deep the synth rabbit hole goes, but the story is engaging enough. It's not
Yeah.
like blowing me away, but it's pretty okay. I like Blade Runner. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I like the synth angle. The side quests are fun, and the Silver Shroud quest was a lot of fun. So there's some great stuff, but yeah, a plot twist that everyone is a synth would be great, and it would explain the character models. And then Bethesda got away with it yet again. So
Yet
it's
again,
like it would have
yeah.
been perfect.
Yeah. The there are three big problems I have with it, and then I can talk about all the things I really liked because I do have a lot to say about it that I really liked. The three big problems were the character models, which we just hit on, so not too much else to say on that. Just anything human looks like shit, basically. The second, which is what Darren just brought up in chat, was that the factions, and I didn't get too deep into New Vegas, and even still I got this sense, the factions are very shallow compared to the factions in New Vegas, I felt. And that I got that impression even without having gotten too far in New Vegas. I basically got into like the gist of each of those factions and what they were about and some of the choices I had, and that is a little bit of a bummer. But at the same time, to me, that's not the imperative part of a Fallout experience. Like, I don't need to have multiple deep factions to choose from. It's a big plus because it worked so well in New Vegas, but it's not the most essential part of the Fallout experience to me, especially because I tend to play more of a lone wanderer style, just not quite like pledging allegiance to any group, but just doing my thing and trying to find my kid.
Right. No, I mean, like me, I have Paladin Dance with me right now, and he's fun. But like I had Nick for a while. Like I don't want to choose any allegiance. Like I like just kind of being my own person in the game, and I like some of the Brotherhood. I hate a lot of the Brotherhood. I like Nick, but I don't like a lot of the synths. So I mean, it's I don't like to choose one specific side in a game like this.
Yeah.
So in that sense, the faction stuff doesn't bother me too much, because for me the fun of Fallout is just wandering.
Yep.
Just finding stuff to do, and that the game succeeds pretty well at that. I like the weapon customization a lot.
Yep.
I don't really care for the Minecraft-esque stuff too much, even though I'm happy it's there. Some of it was kind of cool. I'm just a little bored of building at the moment in games.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not really building like a huge settlement. But I've seen some people like turn Starlight Drive into a big city.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I could
that's
do
cool.
without the settlement building. I've completely forgone it, actually. Like, other than just storing shit in my workshop for my weapon mods, I have not... I did the bare minimum of settlement stuff when I was doing the Minuteman quest at the very beginning. But otherwise, I did not do a single thing with settlements, and I'm actually a lot happier that way. I have a feeling, like, just watching some of that stuff. When it comes to weapon mods, I like the visual aspect of it. I like how modular it is, and how the visual of the gun can really change, like how you can really customize each individual aspect. But at the same time, to me, the two stats that matter on almost 100% of the guns are fire rate and damage, and balancing them in such a way that you're getting max DPS. I haven't noticed a huge problem with range or accuracy when those things are low. I still just aim and still tend to hit things no problem. And that's the thing too, I'm happy that playing it like an FPS is way more viable than it was in 3 and New Vegas.
Absolutely.
Like way more. Because I kind of go back and forth.
It's more fun to just aim.
Yeah, I go back and forth. I do some VATS, I do some regular shooting. And but yeah, so basically what I was getting to was that the customization is cool, but I end up not going with more than a couple of different designs. I don't go for very many unique designs just because I'm just trying to min-max those two specific stats. I don't feel too much incentive to up my accuracy or my recoil or anything like that. I think maybe one sniper rifle I wanted better recoil, but otherwise that was it. So that's that. But yeah, I love that you can actually fight like a proper FPS now and go back and forth and have just as much success either way.
Yeah, and also too, like, the main character of the Fallout game for me is, or any game that's a first-person game is the weapon that you see. So I like seeing the weapons look good. I like seeing the customization because you really feel like these weapons are your own. and the fact that any gun you find in the wild is a little different. So, and you can customize the rare weapons. That's fun for me. Like I like to be able to, like my pistol does like leeching 15% like damage over time.
Bleeding damage, yeah.
Bleeding damage. I love that with all the other mods I have on it.
It's crazy overpowered. Like I don't have a gun like that yet, but I was watching Carrie do it, and she could just, shoot a super mutant, like the tankiest motherfucker, just a couple times, and his health just saps like crazy because it stacks.
It's cool. Like that's what makes the game fun for me.
Yeah,
that's where it excels. And again, it definitely doesn't excel in all areas. But the overhype, I'd still say, is what killed it. The hype of people wanting so much more, and then when it came out, they got less. Which, of course, Bethesda, I think, did a lot of work on the game, but they wanted more out of it, and that's what killed it for some people. I understand it. Overhyping is a real problem. There's definitely times I've overhyped myself to games and then just, nope.
Can you think of do you have a really good example, or like what the biggest overhype?
The Last Story.
Oh yeah? Well, because you kept telling yourself that it's supposed to be like Final Fantasy, and I kept trying to warn you. I was like, it's nothing like Final Fantasy. Don't expect it or you're going to be disappointed. And you kept saying that, and I was like, Vinny, no, stop it.
It was exactly that. And it was like, I was expecting, Yumatsu was doing the soundtrack. Fucking
you have a 360, right?
Sakaguchi was doing the stuff for it, huh? Yeah, I have a 360. Yeah.
Okay, my suggestion is to get a copy of Lost Odyssey, because that is the closest thing to a modern old school Final Fantasy that you can get, in my opinion. If you've ever heard of it, it's made by Mistwalker, which is
Mistwalker made Last Story.
Right, exactly. So you understand that the studio, the people who are in the studio, Lost Odyssey is more or less a very, very classic JRPG. The battle system's similar to Final Fantasy X in a way, in that you see the turn order and you're trying to affect the turn order of your characters to do optimal tactics. But it has its own unique spins on things, and it feels much more classic RPG compared to Final Fantasy X's battle system. And it's great. It's really good.
Okay. So that's something I'll keep in mind. I know that, and another one too, Blue Dragon, people were recommending.
Really? People are recommending Blue Dragon? I mean, I haven't played it, so maybe it's good, but I mean, I've always been under the impression that Blue Dragon's really mediocre.
Okay.
And even Lost Odyssey has its moments where it could be better, but I still really, really liked it, especially for that feeling. It's a Mistwalker game. It's made by those people, and it's a throwback to those things with modern production values. But the only thing about Lost Odyssey is there are these sections, these segments where they present, and I don't know why they did this, they present like a short story that lasts like 10-15 minutes if you actually read through it. And the stories are wonderfully written, and they're just written really well, and they do add a lot of backstory, but they drag on. And my recommendation for you, just knowing your demeanor and the kind of games you like, I would just skip them, and you'll probably still enjoy the game a lot. Just anticipate that. Maybe read one or two so you kind of get the feeling what they're like, and then decide. But yeah,
fair enough. Okay. If I ever decide to go for a modern RPG, I haven't in a while. I really haven't. Like speaking of Xeno Chronicles X.
Xenogears, yeah. Well, are we done with Fallout? Because I still had a couple more things to say with that.
Well, I'm done with it, but let's just say this: open world games. We'll talk a little bit more about those in a second. Continue on Fallout. Yeah.
Okay. The only other thing I was going to say about Fallout was, so I brought up the character models, the factions, which was mostly just Darren's thing. He brought up, and I just agreed with it. The only other thing is the dialogue. I feel that's the only significant step down for me, was the dialogue. Because I don't know, it felt like Mass Effect's wheel, but not as, it didn't always commit to here's the good option, here's the bad option, but it would sometimes, like most of the time, but then sometimes not, and it didn't elaborate on exactly what you were going to say, which sometimes would cause weird things to be said that you didn't want to say. It had kind of a LA Noire sense to that. Did you ever play that?
I watched people stream it.
So you see, like, there's a situation, someone says something, you have three options: truth, where you accept it as truth; doubt, where you doubt it, like you're not just flat out calling him a liar, but you're doubting some parts of it, and then lying, which is when you think they're lying. Oftentimes, when someone would say something and you hit doubt, he would tear into them, be like, "You fucking did it, didn't you? You motherfucker!" Right. Just go nuts. Even though, and you're like, "I just hit doubt. Like, that's all I wanted to do." I get that every once in a while with Fallout. Not as often, not nearly as often, but every once in a while, they would say something, I'd be like, "No, I didn't want to say that." So that was the thing. I wish they would fix charisma, because I really want to do a cool charisma build, but there's no incentive to not just save scum it. I mean, I guess you could just go on the honor system and stick with whether or not you succeed, but even if I do that, there aren't enough situations where it matters. Like, there's a couple of dialogue options, maybe like 1% of dialogue, and I understand they can't do it in everything, but I wish they would do it in a little bit more. I wish they would kind of make charisma sway things a little bit more, because next time I do Fallout 4, next time I play it, I'm easily gonna get rid of charisma. Just one charisma, put in other shit, because I don't need it for anything.
I did 2 charisma, and I still try to make the charismatic decisions, but it just doesn't work. I save scummed it on a robot, on a lady robot, and I was like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna make her like me, and we're gonna get married. And then all she did was like kind of say she found me attractive.
Yeah,
maybe,
like even
and then
when
that was the end of it.
Yeah, even when you do succeed, the reward isn't that good. Like, you might get a couple extra caps, maybe a little extra experience, but nothing unique, nothing that where I was like, because you always expect that to be content gated stuff, where if you succeed a charisma check, then you see something you wouldn't otherwise see. They feel like content gates. They feel like, okay, I need some charisma so I can actually see this stuff, because it must be cool, and then it just ends up being disappointing. So that I just feel like they need to revamp that. Otherwise, other than those things, I think Fallout 4 is really good. I love the world. I think it's huge, really huge, and
it's not that big.
I thought it was pretty big
compared to a lot of games. It's pretty. It's just dense.
You think so? Okay.
And
well,
they condensed it so that it would be better for walking distance, but
density
people were complaining
good.
People were complaining it only takes like 8 minutes to walk from one end to the other, which I think is fine, because there are no vehicles. It's like, well, just you walk across the land. Yeah. So it doesn't bother me too much. But
the thing is, with those big worlds, oftentimes it's density really what it comes down to. Is because I was shocked empty. I was shocked by how many buildings you could walk into. I mean, there was still a lot that you couldn't, which I understand. They can't make every building a walk-in building. But there was still a huge number of things to do in any city, a huge number of just buildings that you could go into. Even if there's no plot significance and no side quest significance, they would just make a whole bunch of buildings just for you to loot and have a good time. And occasionally there'd be like a little side plot as well, Yeah,
I like that. I'd rather that than an empty, like big open, empty nothing of a world. Which there was an example I had recently, but I can't think of it now. There was some game that I was playing that had this big open world, but there was just nothing to do in between. Was it it was Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some minor things to do, but generally,
like
you could
just outposts.
You could just skip mission to mission, go back to the helicopter, and that was like more than acceptable.
And see for that game, I feel it's okay, because it's designed like an open world game, but if you play it like that, then you might get the feeling that you were getting, where there isn't anything to do in the huge world. I treat it more like a series of levels that are really well designed and just scattered around an open world, and you just go from level to level and do missions fine. That way. And I like that. I don't mind that. But as an open world game, you're right, it doesn't quite work.
It almost worked.
Almost.
But it was just a little empty. But Fallout, you can walk, a minute, not even 30 seconds, and then there's something to your left, and you're like, what's that?
So. The biggest improvement in Fallout 4 over the older Fallout games, by far, like a metric landslide, is looting. How much they streamlined looting. Like the fact that you could mark things that are useful. On a couple levels. One, the fact that you don't need to open a goddamn menu to loot something every single time.
Yeah,
it's just a little pop-up, you take your things and you go. You see like the drawer just kind of open and close, and that's it. Like it's just so streamlined, and it's fantastic. Um, I like. I used to take things with a high caps to low weight ratio as much as possible in Fallout 3. And I like that Fallout 4 doesn't put that information in front of you, because then you're kind of making judgment calls on what you think will be useful to you, like in regards to either material or to value. And to me, that's more immersive, because that's what you would do if you were a real wanderer. Like in a wasteland, you would kind of just need to make judgment calls. You wouldn't have those numbers. So the fact that Fallout 4 doesn't put those numbers immediately in front of you, to me, is a good thing. It immersed me a bit more. I was looking at something saying duct tape, probably useful. Fan, cumbersome, but maybe I can get a piece off of it, you know? Like actually making these kind of survivalist choices, you know?
I like that too. Like I find myself more excited over finding tape than finding like some bottle caps.
Yep.
So I would much rather go through the game and loot like a scavenger, like, and not just, you know, like you said, just take the things that are most sellable. So yeah, I mean the upgrade system with the materials and the junk system, it works really well, and I like that you can store your junk in your bench.
Yep.
So,
I like that you
they
can
did a
mark
good job with
things.
that.
I like that as the game goes on, you realize what you need more and more, just because your guns become more heavily modded, so the pool of items you need gets less and less. That's when you mark the things that you know you need, and that it's twofold. One, you can immediately identify something you want to take, and that just again is a streamlining thing. That's good. And two, it's almost reflective in theme, because it's like your character getting more experienced in the wasteland and knowing what to take. So and I don't know if that was an intentional reflection on the theme, but it just worked really well, and I liked that a lot.
Immersive. It's a nice immersive system while you're in a building.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, look at all this stuff. Oh, there's a fan over there's a globe. Holy shit, that's 3 screws. And then you just take it and you realize that, you know, you're collecting all this junk, but it's more worthwhile than actually looting weapons half the time.
Yep.
So until you get the scavenger perk. But yeah, it's good. They did, like I said, you know, people that are wholly disappointed with it, I don't understand, because there are definitely some improvements and some things that Bethesda did very right. And you know, the whole knee-jerk reaction, it's good, it's shit. Like there's no in between. That, I mean, well, that could be said for anything in this world. But you know, in this case, it seems like a lot of that knee-jerk reaction has fallen onto Fallout 4, and it's a shame, because there is some hard work put into it, and it really is it's well done.
Understatement of the year. Yeah,
some hard work.
There's some hard work. Yeah. But no, I think it's a really good game. Like, I think it's super solid. Like, even if it's not going to be your favorite Fallout, I see no reason why this would be strictly a disappointment to someone who's a Fallout fan.
Not a disappointment.
I can't.
Maybe a little bit of a step down for some people, but
still
enjoyable.
Not even for me, I'd like it better than Fallout 3 and New Vegas personally, for various reasons. But and even if it's a step down for Fallout fans, I don't see how you could view it strictly as a disappointment, because it's just, I don't know, it's just good. It delivers the same that the other ones delivered, just changed a few things, and some of them a little bit for the worse, some of them a little for the better, but nothing that ruins the experience or changes it from the Fallout experience. Like, I don't know, don't get it.
Well, when Obsidian gets their hands on the engine and we get their take on the next Fallout game, I think people will probably be a little happier.
Yeah.
Obsidian has a bit more attention to certain detail that they want.
But I'll be back in 1 sec. I'm wearing a sweater and it's fucking hot, so I'm gonna go switch into a t-shirt. But you can entertain the chat.
I have something to tell everyone.
Oh, there you go. So
a secret.
So you do that, and I'll be back in a moment.
I'm gonna tell them a secret. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
All right, guys. No one tell KY, but someone from Obsidian tweeted that they were going to the bayou, and then they showed Louisiana handbooks, like survival books to Louisiana. So people are speculating that Fallout New Orleans is happening, which then the guy on Twitter promptly denied. But you can look it up, and it got a little traction. It made people happy. I don't know if the fact that they're denying this rumor has anything to do with them just wanting to keep it a secret. Maybe someone was like, no, don't reveal it yet. Tell them it was bullshit. But that's the story. Don't tell KY.
They could always, just let Kotaku leak it. That would work too.
You could, yeah. I mean, if you need a leak, just go to the worst.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about Fallout. Overall, I think it's great. I really like it a lot. I like it better than 3 and New Vegas personally. Yeah, it's just good.
I liked it so much I bought a little energy weapons bobblehead.
Really? Cool.
You hear it?
Yeah.
I swear it's not fapping.
It sounds very energetic. Yep.
Yeah. So that's my Fallout contribution. But anyway, so why don't we talk a little bit about we have a few things we could talk about next. How about this? I'll just talk about Just Cause 3 for just a minute.
Sure.
And I want to explain something. So one, Square actually contacted me. Square Enix contacted me. They wanted me to play the game.
I think they contacted all of us actually because I got it too.
You did?
Yeah, they contacted
nice.
me. Well, it could have also just been because we were on the PAX list. I don't know if they contacted the other Vine Saucers, but they definitely contacted me, and I got a Just Cause 3 key for PS4.
They didn't contact Darren.
Well,
Darren wanted one.
Oh, really? Shit. I would have gave it. Well, I actually haven't redeemed it, but he doesn't have a PS4, does he?
No.
Shit. But I don't know. Maybe I'll ask them to switch it to PC, and then I can give it to Darren or something. But
or maybe just ask them to. Well, you know what? We could always ask and see if they can give one to Darren. Anyway, the point is, so I streamed it a few days ago, and I had a really good time with it. Some performance stuff that'll probably be fixed with my new setup. But other than that, they patched it. They said they wanted to take a look and see what. Like the person who sent me the key was like, we want to watch and see what problems you run into so we can fix them before release. Anyway, just want to explain the difference between a few things to people. First of all, when you get a key from a company, that's a review copy, meaning you're allowed to say whatever fucked up shit you want about the game because that's part of your review. Now, you have an embargo, meaning there's a certain day you can't. Like, okay, so you can't reveal the review too early.
Right.
Like, or you can't stream the game too early. They know I'm a streamer.
You can't go past a certain point. If sometimes, like what they said with this one, was that you could play up to a certain point. Like, yeah, basically limitations. Yeah. Yeah,
it's the full game, and they just give it to you early so you can play it and then make a review. But you're totally allowed to rip it apart. I could totally rail it, and they're not allowed to give you shit about that. You know what I mean? Like if they discriminate and not send me future keys because I said their game was shit, then that's their problem. And that's not good. That doesn't look good for them. So that's one thing. So I got a review copy. That's the difference. Some people do promotions. Now, I know JonTron's done a few. I know a few other people have done a few. And I've been offered a few. And I'd like to explain the difference. Promotions, you're not, from what I understand about it, you have to make a video, you have to promote the game and not say anything bad about it. And in the description of your video or at the bottom of your stream, you have to say that you took money. So if anyone is curious about whether or not a video on YouTube is a paid promotion or a review, look in the description, and if it says this is a paid promotion by Square Enix or blah, 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 that means that they were offered a few $1,000s to make a specific thing to promote a company. Now, that again, you're not allowed to say, from what I understand, you're not allowed to say a game is bad. So check that out. And now you'll know from in the future. Some people make it pretty obvious. Some people try not to hide it because they're just like, well, it's a review copy and we don't want to be fake about it. So you know what? We're taking money for it. Check this out. People are being more transparent about it. But that's the difference between the two, because I had a lot of questions about that. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
People get weird when you start getting free games.
Yeah, but here's another thing too. I was going to say, sometimes the offers, I've turned down every offer I got because I don't like to do that. But sometimes the offers can range from absurd to extremely absurd.
Yeah.
where you have to log like 40 hours.
Yeah,
You have to do a video series, and you have to talk
Yep.
about this. Then you have to cross promote their other brand.
Yeah, you gotta choose from 3 different games and do 4.5 hours of at least 2 of them, and yeah, stuff like that. I've seen a few things like that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So just wanted to throw that out there so people could get to know.
Got
And,
to know talk.
Otherwise, Just Cause 3 is great.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was my Just Cause 3
that was
conversation.
your ramp up. Was that you
I'm
can
done now.
you can talk all the shit you want about it, but it's great, and they didn't give
I
you money
loved
to
it.
say that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I had a great time with it. It's so fun. I played it on my own, and when I wasn't streaming, and I just spent like 2-3 hours just fucking around in it. Dude, Just Cause 3 might be one of my favorite games this year.
Oh yeah.
I might like it better than Fallout 4.
Whoa.
Just saying.
Whoa. Yeah.
Check it out. You got a key. Check it out. I mean,
Yeah.
you'll have to spend 4 minutes loading
Well-
it, but yeah.
I also told them too, because and here's the thing too, they actually sent the emails they sent felt very personalized. I don't know how they were for you, because you'll get a lot
Very
of PR
personalized.
emails where they're just like, here's the press kit, here's your Steam key, or it'll say contact for a Steam key, let us know if you're going to do a thing, and there's just, but with this one there's like, hey Vinny, KY, I didn't know if you were interested in any Square Enix's upcoming games. Just Cause is coming out soon, as well as Deus Ex in the future, and shit, there's a third one too, I can't remember. Hitman, thank you. And I had a conversation with her back and forth, because I told her, I was like, I'm very interested in Deus Ex, but I'm going to tell you flat out, I have no plans of streaming Just Cause 3 or Hitman. And she was like, well, you know what? It's still useful, and in case you change your mind, I'll send a key anyway, but if you don't stream it, that's no problem, is what she said.
Yeah, it was the same lady who contacted me.
Very polite, very just human, I guess, which was awesome. I was like, yeah,
Hey,
Square? Yeah.
In the interest of transparency, I'll tell you guys a little something else. I actually I said I have a 3DS capture card, and I'd be interested in playing Square Enix's like Final Fantasy Explorers in the future.
Uh-huh.
I said that kind of stuff interests me, and I like a lot of RPGs that Square does. And she said, honestly, Square of Japan, they're not really with the times yet.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Nintendo. Like,
Right.
Nintendo of America, they get it more. Square Enix of America, they get it, and they're the publisher that publishes like Just Cause and Hitman. But when we're talking about Square Enix, the developer, I don't even think they know what streaming is. And many of these Japanese developers, not just one or two companies, but most of them seem to think still that streaming hurts their brand. So, you have these two conflicting ideals, and the Western ideal is really different than it is in the East at the moment. And so it's weird that Square, would reach out to us personally and say, like, we're going to try to do something with people, with YouTubers, with streamers. Really interesting. Really, really weird, really interesting stuff. But there you go.
There you go.
Chances are I won't get Final Fantasy Explorers, but that's just anyway. What else is there to talk about? I know people want us to talk about Nintendo Direct.
We could do that. Or I haven't even seen any requests for it. I was just saying we usually talk Nintendo Direct. I know that one happened. But you also mentioned Xenoblade earlier. I don't know if you wanted to touch on Xenoblade.
I want you to touch on Xenoblade, because I want to get your thoughts and opinions about
Xenoblade. Okay. So I am a big Xenogears fan. And I liked Xenoblade a lot. Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii. And Xenoblade Chronicles X looks like a love child of Xenogears and Xenoblade Chronicles. So I am hype as shit. Basically.
It does look really good.
Xenoblade, I don't know if you know much about Xenogears. It was a JRPG on the PlayStation 1, released just before Final Fantasy 8, I think.
Yeah.
Xenogears, before Final Fantasy 7 came out, they pitched the script of Xenogears to Bob Square at Squaresoft.
Bob Square, the owner of Square?
Yep, the owner of Square. And it was supposed to be Final Fantasy 7. And they said it's a little bit too serious, but it's good enough that we'll let you do it anyway. Just so you understand the level that original game was striving for was that golden era of Final Fantasies. Of course, they eventually cut the budget of it due to Final Fantasy VIII being in development, so that second disc kind of sucks. Like, it
Yeah, I
goes
heard.
from, like, the greatest JRPG ever in the first disc to the second disc is literally, I'm not even exaggerating, literally a
Flashbacks, right?
character. No, not even. It's worse. It's a character sitting in a chair, like, as in rendered on screen is a character sitting in a chair with text scrolling up telling you what happened. And these were events like the fall of a great nation and betrayals and shit that you really want to experience.
That's
Literally
gross.
a character sitting in a chair for, and then occasionally they'd put a dungeon in and then it'd go back to the chair and then a dungeon back to the chair, just like warp from place to place. And then the final leg of the game was okay, but most of disc 2 is that. um but yeah, anyway,
That's shit.
that's the
That's
main
what happens
reason.
when you cut
Yeah.
a budget.
Yeah, that's the main reason why Xenogears floundered back then. But point is, it's one of my favorite JRPGs ever. And then Xenoblade was great. Really big open world. Pretty good battle system. Kind of a clusterfuck UI, but very compelling overall. Xenoblade Chronicles X is just fixing everything for me. It's making it look better, which was the main problem with Xenoblade, was that it's a beautiful world on a really shit hardware. So it couldn't render it at a good enough resolution or frame rate to do the world justice. And Xenoblade Chronicles X looks great. Meanwhile, it's taking some of the sci-fi elements of Xenogears back, such as the gears, the mechs, and putting it back in, and kind of giving you a battle system for both things, just like Xenogears did. I'm just so hyped. But I have read reviews, so I do understand. I'm anticipating what is going to disappoint me. Like, for example, the plot is
What's-
it. Sorry, what?
No, I'm just curious. So wait, it's out already? Oh, it was out in Japan, right?
It's out in Japan. It will be out tomorrow, but most American publications have already, or Western publications, I should say, have already published their reviews for it. So there are a couple things, and I have a feeling it's going to be a very divisive game because of this, because of a number of things. But one, it doesn't hold your hand. Like, there's apparently a manual, an actual manual that you have to read
What?
to get it.
2015, there's a manual?
It apparently whisks you through a really quick tutorial, which is kind of nice, and then just throws you into it. It's very not hand-holdy. So it kind of has some old-school sensibilities in that regard, but it's also apparently very dense. So it depends on your determination to get into it. They don't give you the badass mechs until about 20, 30 hours in, apparently, if you're playing on an average rate. That bums me out a little bit, but I intended on playing through the whole thing anyway, so that's okay. Yeah, whatever.
That's a lot of game time, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost half of my Metal Gear Solid 5 playthrough.
Yeah. Apparently the plot takes a backseat, which is the big downside for especially Xenogears fans, because the plot was so good in Xenogears, and it was decent in Xenoblade. Not amazing, but decent. Pretty good. Or good enough that you want to continue and see what happened next, even if it wasn't the best plot in the world. Apparently, Xenoblade Chronicles X is more of a world exploration game. It's less about the drama and the events, and more about learning about the planet and exploring it and finding secrets and doing quests along the way. But more just that you're colonizing this new planet and you're an open world. It's an open world. Go explore it and figure it out. That's kind of the structure, which is good and bad. I mean, it's good because that's still a very valid game design, and I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot. But just bad in the sense that I'm definitely going to miss having a really intriguing plot. And who knows? By the end, it might pick up there, but it's not like a linear plot like Xenoblade and Xenogears were, where there are always constant events pushing the drama forward. So
Shit.
yeah.
Well, that's not something that would bother me too much if I really enjoyed the game. Like, I don't
Right,
mind
exactly.
having a game that's light on story, but put it this way: when I restreamed Final Fantasy VII earlier this year, I did so because I wanted to re-experience the story, not because I wanted to explore the world, which was part of it. But if the game didn't have a story and characters that were interesting to me, I wouldn't have wanted to play it.
Yeah.
However, this game looks like it's a lot of fun. It looks like the world itself is the big star. So I can see how having the plot take a bit of a backseat could work in a game to work to this game's advantage.
Yep.
So I'm very tempted to get it. Don't get me wrong. I'm very tempted to, but I just don't have the time. I don't think.
No, I mean, and
So
dude, it's $60, and I almost never buy games, never buy AAA games at the $60 retail value unless
right,
just because I not because I don't think it's worth that, because most of them are, but just because I can't do it like budget wise, it's not practical to always be getting $60 games. I think
right.
Xenoblade's gonna be one of them that I'm gonna do, and what was I gonna say? Oh, getting mild, not even sidetracked, but just kind of very quickly switching aspects. Gen Trigger in chat brings up that getting the mechs late is almost a good thing, because by contrast, you get the power armor in Fallout 4 way too early.
That's true.
I told him I agreed 100% because in Fallout's 1 through New Vegas, they hyped the power armor. They're like, oh shit, power armor. Man, it'd be great if you got to use one of those someday. And then like maybe at the end of the game, you manage to get a set of power armor, and when you do, it feels badass. Fallout 4, they give you the power armor almost immediately, and I couldn't have felt more lukewarm about it. Even though I really liked what they did with the UI. The UI was awesome when you were inside the armor.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't buying it. And so, in a way, Xenoblade Chronicles X is the same way, in that the mechs are so badass that it's almost good that they hold it off. But at the same time, Xenogears, they hold the mechs in front of you for a bit, but they don't put you into one until about 5 or 6 hours in. So they hold it off a little bit. So it's kind of a middle ground. With Xenoblade, you got to wait 20, 30 hours. It might be a little bit too much for me. I mean, I'll still be happy and I'll get to that point, but I'll probably end up considering that a flaw in the end, depending on how the game is.
Yeah, it could be. It could be one of those things where, like, for Fallout 4, I know Todd Howard was saying something like, you give the player something really overpowered early on, and that way, if they struggle with the game, they have the ability to go grab that thing and bring it back. Like, oh, here, we're going to give you the Fat Man launcher in the first hour. So if you're struggling, you have 3 mini nukes. Use it on this person, use it on this person, and then the last one you save.
Yeah.
So I understand, like, I understand the design decision to give the player, like, that's kind of like a help system. That's like you putting wings on Yoshi. It's a very similar thing, except with restriction. The fusion cores are what makes the power armor more. You can't just jump in a power armor and run around forever in it. So I understand what the attempt was, but yeah, I mean, in this game, in Chronicles, Xenoblade Chronicles X, I would love to see how much different the game feels from foot combat to mech combat. Because the way I think of it is like Skies of Arcadia, you get ship battles versus land battles. Yep. Very different. But here's the thing. Ship battles are just ship to ship. Land battles are just land to land. So there's no intermingling of battles. I'm assuming with the mech suit, you can then attack shittier enemies. And not
you can
just
like
fight
stomp
giant
on them
things.
instead. Like if there's wolves, you can. And Xenogears was the same way. When you were in your gear, which was the name for the mech, I think in Chronicles X, it's called Skells, like skeletons. In the Japanese version, they're called dolls. I almost kind of prefer dolls in a way, even though But in Xenogears, you could hop in and out of your mech at any time. So if you were fighting something that was the size of your mech, it would look normal in battle, and then you'd hop out, and all of a sudden the thing is fucking massive and would do 1,000,000 points of damage to you. Same thing, you could fight minor enemies when you were inside your mech and just stomp their shit. And it looks like Chronicles X is the same way, because even when you're on foot, you see all the enemies. You will see your level 3 wolves running alongside a level 50 like gargantuan dinosaur type thing.
I love those things.
All kind of in a natural ecosystem. And then, so because they're integrated, whether you're in your mech or not, it works. You have something to fight, and when you're in your mech, you just stomp the shit out of those wolves and have an actual fight with one of those things. I know in Xenogears, the battle system actually changed. When you were in a gear, it turned into a fuel management type minigame, and when you were on foot, it was like a comboing thing. In Chronicles X, I think they just swap out your active skills, and that's pretty much it. So, Yeah, it looks like the battle system is going to be largely the same. It's just the scale changes.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. That's
And
kind of
it
cool.
it also largely affects how you travel the world, which is gonna feel cool because you flying around and stuff. But it also locks off certain areas until you get a mech in Chronicles X, which is awesome because you see like some high cliff that you can't reach. You're gonna remember it, and then when you get that gear or you get a mech, you can fly up there and see what it was about. Apparently, even when you get your gears 20 to 30 hours in, they can't fly right away. They can only walk. And then it's another
Oh,
10,
okay.
15 hours before you can even fly. So,
Jesus
I
Christ.
know, I know. That's my big reservation so far is just the pacing seems very stretched. Uh, but,
But
so yeah.
well, here's to bring it back a little bit. Let's scale it back.
Yeah, sure.
This is Nintendo's big holiday release for all intents and purposes.
Hmm.
Star Fox was supposed to come out this year, got delayed.
Yep.
Zelda Wii U was the big holiday. Early on, people
Yep.
were saying it was going to come out this year.
Nope.
That got delayed. So Nintendo has Mario Maker that came out this year. Yoshi, which is, I wouldn't say that's
Yeah.
holiday game material. And then you have this big obscure game. I say obscure because I don't know how many. I don't know if it's going to sell a lot. Something about this game feels kind of like it would be under the radar for a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
Nintendo is doing really well right now with that Splatoon and Smash Brothers Wii U combo that they released.
Yeah, they are.
It's been really good. I've read some reports that they did a fuckload of good business with it. But I'm wondering if the audience of the Wii U is going to go out and pick up a game like this. It's daunting. But Nintendo, within their Direct, for example, they were touting this as being a huge thing. And it's like, this is the hardcore game you're waiting for.
Yeah, they're
And I'm
trying
afraid
to
it's
pimp
not
it
gonna
out
sell.
on PR. Yeah, I'm afraid too. I mean, they're trying their best to pimp it out on PR. I mean, just look at how many reviewers got advanced copies, and they were told explicitly that they could publish it a few days before it comes out, and just the production values in it and everything. But it doesn't have that mainstream appeal. I don't know. I agree. I agree. I worry that it might not sell, and then that'd be it for the Xeno series. But yeah, I mean, and the thing is, Xenoblade, I feel, could have been really successful if they had fucking released it in America in a reasonable time frame. Because originally they weren't even going to localize it. It was all in English because it came out in Europe. They just didn't localize it for America, for North America, for some reason. So it came out eventually after like petitions, and
Oh my God, really? Was it that much of a struggle?
yeah, people had like these petitions to release the last story, Xenoblade, and I think Pandora's Tower or something.
Right, Pandora's
Because,
Tower was the other one.
yeah, and eventually it did get released, but it was so late in the Wii's life cycle that it didn't do well, and they didn't print extras, so it just became this incredibly rare game. I don't know, because I think that game could have been much bigger hit than it was. I mean, it was enough that they put it in Smash, I guess. Maybe it was big in Japan, but
Sure.
but yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles X does not, I feel, have that same kind of adventurous appeal as Xenoblade did, where it has a compelling story front and center and a mysterious sword. It's always important.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have also a main character. Like Shulk is, here's this guy who runs around in his underwear with a big lightsaber, and he's like, ah, and he's doing that kind ah, and that kind of thing is cool, and people remember that. But in this game, you have what looks to be scary doll face people,
Yep.
with really weird emotional expressions,
Yep.
and they're just jumping around in these mechs, and it's hard to latch on to. It feels kind of cold because with Shulk, and those characters, they at least were
Shulk.
distinct enough, and they were like, oh, but then you have this game, and you make your own character.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't really have the same kind of impact. I
Yeah.
mean, but there are some cool events that they showed off that are definitely interesting, like the city crashing down to the planet.
Yeah.
That-
And the thing is,
being
I
all that-
guarantee
that's
you
left.
a lot of that stuff is just the introduction cutscene. Like, almost
Oh, yeah,
all of
yeah.
the really cool events and stuff was almost guaranteed just the first few hours of the game, and then it's exploration and quests for 50 hours, and then an ending.
Yeah.
That's the I think the vibe I'm getting from it, which I might be okay with because the world is what's really hooking me about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like I really love the look of the world, and I just want to explore it and kill everything in it. And
It looks great on the Wii U too. My
yeah,
God, they really squeezed out the last bit of.
they did
They squeezed out a ton of power from this machine
to the
for that
point where
game.
they had those data packs that they made such a huge point out of in the Nintendo Direct, which was kind of silly because they're all free. It's not like there's any choice involved. It's a choice of whether or not you want to just free up enough space to have them.
Right.
I guess that, of course, they just wanted you to be aware of them because they wanted a platform to say, hey, you can do this, because I have a feeling if they didn't, people wouldn't have known about it, and then the load times would have been atrocious.
Yeah.
But it was just a weird how much they focused on it in the Nintendo Direct.
They did. Yeah, it was like a few minutes.
Yeah.
Um,
They could have just mentioned it. Like, if you want to increase your load times, go to the eShop and download the data pack to decrease your load times. That's it. That's all
Right.
they have to say.
yeah, but
They didn't have to say
showed
like
the whole.
there's
I think
this edition and this one if you want to save on the load times from monsters, and this one if you want to save on the load times from characters. They just went through each data pack and how they would benefit you. I'm like, I don't need that shit. I could figure it
Yeah.
out on my own. Just tell me that it's available and I'll go figure it out.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird, and then then they had some guy in the background going, "Oh, no." My question to you, now that we're on the topic of Nintendo Direct, let's talk a little bit about it because
Okay.
it was a little while ago, but
Yeah.
I think it's still people want to maybe hear us talk about it, and I would like to talk about it.
Sure.
Let's talk about why some of it felt good and other bits of it felt like just rancid ass. So for me, the rancid ass was the games where you have to download them, the free to start games.
Free to start.
As Nintendo, lovely free to start games. Pokemon Doctor Edition, Service Pikachu's Cervix.
Dude, if you talk shit about Pokemon Picross, I'm gonna ban you from my chat room.
It's Picross. I know you like Picross, but
I
I'm
fucking
not
love
talking specifically
Picross.
about that. There was a few other things. It was like there's a bunch of stuff in a row that was like free to start.
Yeah,
I don't-
yeah.
Everything's Shulk voice now. Great.
Shulk. You're not saying it right. Shulk.
Shulk. Shoke, right?
Shulk.
So I didn't mind, seeing it a little bit, but it happened a lot. But there were some good moments too in the Nintendo Direct, from what I remember. I've only watched it once, but it started off strong. Why don't we talk a little bit about Twilight Princess HD? Any interest?
No. I mean, sorry, that was very blunt. There's interest in the sense that I'm glad that it's getting brought to a console that's not the Wii. I understand it was on GameCube, but it was heavily overshadowed. And the waggle sucked dick. And the Wii, I feel, did not do justice to the game's art style. Because the Wii didn't do justice to anything's art style, let's face it.
Nope.
Like 480p. What the fuck were they thinking? But otherwise, I feel Twilight Princess is one of the weakest in the series. And
Overall, do you really feel that way?
oh yeah, easily. There's a lot of great things about it. That's the thing. The worst Zelda game I feel is still a really good game. Overall,
True. Yeah.
even if it's become so formulaic, which might change with the new one. Even still, I don't know. I feel it's one of the worst. It's either that or I go back and forth with Skyward Sword because I really love a lot of things about Skyward Sword, but the things I hate about it, I really hate like with a passion. Whereas to me, Twilight Princess is the definition of mediocrity. The world felt mediocre. The characters felt mediocre, other than like maybe Midna. Zant had a ton of potential, and he just ended up being like a clown.
Yeah, goofy.
And
I agree.
they shoehorned Ganon into it, whereas Zant could have been just fine on his own as a new antagonist, and it would have given the game something original that wasn't the shitty wolf sections,
Well, you know what they were trying to do with Twilight Princess. They were trying to remedy the Wind Waker catastrophe, which ended up turning into not a catastrophe, but a landmark for Nintendo in a way. Wind Waker was great. I think it's one of my favorite Zelda games. But they wanted to basically take what made Ocarina of Time cool and put that into a game. and like show off these dark trailers, and they wanted to kind of reproduce that feeling, and that's why the Ganon was in it.
Yeah,
But
Ganon.
I actually like Twilight Princess a lot more than you do. I've only played it once, which is why I kind of, it's been almost 10 years, so I need to reserve my judgment.
Uh-huh.
But when it comes out, the HD edition, I'm going to stream it, and I'm hoping, Reggie mentioned, or whoever mentioned in the trailer, that there's some gameplay improvements that they're working on that they're going to reveal at a later date. Now, that is important because I don't want to waggle.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it would be great if I could use the gyroscope on the Wii U controller to aim my bow and arrow.
Yeah.
And use the touchscreen for map and stuff.
Yep. Because that way you have the best part of the GameCube version, at least when you're comparing versions, which was just a simple button press to swing your sword. Because let's face it, the waggle is pretty much analogous to a button press, except to mashing a button, except without precision. That's what the waggle was when it came to sword swinging.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Skyward Sword, where at least the angle was supposed to matter, and often did, depending on your experience. For me, it worked great, but for most, it didn't. But point is, it was just literally just shaking it, and Link would shake his sword. It was just analogous.
Just a new toy. It was like, we put out a new toy. I know people want to use it, so here it is, everyone.
So it had the best part of the GameCube version, which was a button instead of waggle, but also with a gyroscope, it would have the best part of the Wii version, which was the bow aiming, because bow aiming worked really well.
Bow aiming was good, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've seen some comparison videos, and I've seen the textures look a lot more improved than you would think at first glance. They turned down the bloom a bit. The world looks a little bit more vibrant. A lot of people complain and say it looks exactly the same. That's mainly because the character models are the same.
I agree in the sense that I feel there's not a huge improvement, like not enough of an improvement. Like, well, on one hand, the upped resolution, god damn it, cat. The upped resolution is enough to be a huge improvement on its own. They could totally untouch the textures, untouch the models and the details. Just the fact that it's rendering at a higher resolution is going to do wonders. Plain and simple.
And that's why they needed better textures, though, because the resolution is going to be so much higher. So
in that sense, it's really good, but in other senses, when you look at, like, consider Ocarina of Time 3D.
Yeah. Well, Majora's Mask 3D looked really good for
even Wind Waker, like, it wasn't changed all that much, but they changed the art style, and I don't know, to me, the Wind Waker HD looked a lot better than the GameCube one in a lot of regards. It definitely did.
They did it. I mean, the bloom was a little bit extensive, but they kind of, it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be in the trailers. No. Once you got into the game, it looked great. But here's the thing: the models in Wind Waker were simple to begin with, and they were going for the cartoon style, so it worked well.
That's true.
For clean, crisp textures with some effects on it, whereas Twilight Princess went for semi-realism, and that does not apply as well in HD.
Yeah.
With blocky models.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, when you see the very minute details in the texture upgrades, they're actually, there's a video that compared the textures, and they basically came to the conclusion that they're redoing these textures from scratch.
Huh.
Like, whatever company, it's not Nintendo directly. They
outsourced it, yeah.
They outsourced it, and they're basically redoing, like, the textures. It looks like they're redoing the textures from scratch, and that's a pretty big job. I mean, Grezzo probably took a few years on Majora's Mask 3D, which they had to update models, they had to update textures, they had to do the gameplay from the ground up. So there's a lot of development time. Now, if they wanted to really take advantage of the Wii U, they would have redone some models. See, what I would have done, Skies of Arcadia on the GameCube upgraded the main character models. The enemies were the same, peripheral characters were the same models, but like Vice, Ica, Fina, etc., the main characters that you see the most, they upped their model polygon percentage by like 50%.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been great for Twilight Princess HD, because then you got Link, you make him look great, make Ganon, Zant, Midna, Zelda, etc., and then that's it. You don't have to do the townsfolk. No one
Yeah.
cares.
Yeah, that's true.
And that would have been fine. So I feel like they, I give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm happy that they're trying to improve
Yeah.
the textures. But it would have been nice to see some model detail increase.
For me, here's at least my personal taste. I will never be interested in an HD remake in the style of Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess anywhere close to as much as I was interested in the remake in a style of Ocarina and Majora 3D. Because when you compare them side by side, the original Ocarina to Ocarina 3D, it's mind blowing how much more detail they put into it. Like absolutely mind blowing. And
it's almost a reimagining.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of people think that's exaggerated. Like you think it's just that it's your memory fucking with you. That it's actually a lot closer than you think. But if you put them side by side, you will really see the difference.
Agreed.
And that's what I really like about those. Is like you said, they kind of feel more like a reimagining, and I will always be more interested in that kind of re-release than an HD remake,
which is much more extensive.
Yeah, some games I think benefit more from HD re-releases, especially if it's like more rare games or underappreciated games that got limited releases. Like Okami is a good example. Okami HD on PS3 was fantastic. And I wouldn't even mind an Okami on PS4 just because it's such an underrated game. Or like Beyond Good and Evil HD is a good example as well. Just because it's such a stellar game that had such a limited release or didn't sell well enough. More people should play them. So for those, I give more leeway. Yeah. But for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, those games were huge anyway.
They were, and again, it's an attempt to have Nintendo revitalize their Wii U a little bit and build some Zelda hype. So it's not. I don't think it comes from the most pure of places as to why these exist. I feel like the 3DS versions were more pure, which was an attempt to take the N64's dated 20 frames a second, blocky, gross textures, and really, really make the games look really good, from now until whenever. But yeah, this is the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I don't see the intentions as being as pure. 9 years isn't really enough for a remake.
No.
Remakes are weird because I want them, but I want to see a lot of work put into them. However, I was going to stream Twilight Princess, and then when I figured out, like, okay, there's a rumor that the HD edition is coming out, let me hold off. And then when it was confirmed, I said, yeah, I'm going to just wait. Because at least then I can compare and contrast. And it's like, again, I want to play the game as a player, but I also want to play it as someone that people watch to make a judgment call on whether or not they should buy a game. I try to stream a game from both perspectives. I'm enjoying this, but also I want you guys to make a good decision when purchasing and spending your money. So I feel like Twilight Princess HD will be fun for that. But generally, yeah, my remake preferences are definitely the same as yours. I wish it looked a little better. I wish they were doing more model work. But knowing that Nintendo was in a bit of a crisis with the Wii U, I understand that they want to get this game out, and I hope it's good. Like I said, we could talk about Twilight Princess forever. Yep. I think it's a pretty good game. I think from my memories of it, it felt like it had some good moments and some cool ideas. But generally, a lot of those memories kind of start fading into Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
And they also just don't stand out enough. And there's only a few moments that I remember, a few temples I remember. And I remember the game having a lot of temples. I only remember like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So, but they were good 3 or 4.
Yeah. I feel the temples or the dungeons were the strongest part of Twilight Princess. Skyward Sword had a benefit over Twilight Princess in that in Twilight Princess, most of the item usage was limited to the dungeon that you would find that item in. And in Skyward Sword, it was more cumulative. Like, as the dungeons went on, you would continue to use the items you'd pick up, and they would just stack on top. And I liked that better.
I Link Between Worlds still got them both beat.
Oh, yeah. By a landslide.
Really
and like I said, even though I feel that Twilight Princess, I use, I guess, biting words about it, but I still feel that the worst Zelda game is a pretty game, at least for me. So I agree.
Spirit
I think
Tracks
Yeah.
Can eat it.
Yeah,
But
kind
anyway,
of sucks.
continue. Sorry.
But but Twilight Princess, it's a pretty good game, and I agree with you. It's pretty good.
So yeah, I mean, it was a good start to the Nintendo Direct. Wow, we spent a lot of time on that. Sorry. Um, are there any others? Like, I mean, we know what the big Nintendo Direct thing is. I want to talk a little bit about Smash, but before we do that, was there anything else from Nintendo Direct that you wanted to touch on specifically?
What else happened that was really big news besides CLUD? Because that kind of overwrote everything that I remember about the Nintendo Direct.
Same.
Um,
Mario Luigi Paper Jam. Any interest in that?
nah, not really. Just because I know that Paper Mario on 3DS was very underwhelming. Mario and Luigi on 3DS was underwhelming. Maybe it'll be, I don't know, maybe it'll be great. Who knows? But I don't have much feelings about it.
Same.
There's Fire Emblem. The fact that you gotta buy 2 of them because they're going the Pokemon route now.
Yeah, I'm buying one of them, and
Yeah.
that's the fucking end of it.
I think same for me. I mean, because the thing is, with Fire Emblem 7, you got 3 different stories in one cart, and it was great. I guess 2 of them were very close. You just kind of saw opposite sides of the same coin, and then the third was just purely a different story. And I don't know. Maybe there'll be a good reason for it, but there seems.
Well, 2 are coming out at first, and then a third is coming out later.
Yeah. So
Which at first it was only 2, so now that's 3. It's like, huh?
I don't know. So if I think it's making my head turn a little bit, just like what's going on. But I'll probably pick one up. But not a lot of strong feelings on anything that I can think of. Of course, the most important game to talk about is Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. That looks good, right? Right. Now, the one thing that pisses me off about that is you can't use your villager amiibo on it.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Yeah, like what? Like I understand there's a Smash symbol on it and it's made just for Smash, but surely they could have figured something out, right?
Yeah, of course they could have figured
come on.
something out. But I mean, then the money.
I hear that I hear that
Yeah.
there's a mini game in it that's absurdly good to the point where some people feel they should just make a standalone game version of it. Like they have the board game, which apparently is just, shitty or boring, really, just unremarkable. It's like Mario Party without the mini games. You just roll the dice and you read about what happened, and that's it, over and over until someone wins. But as you do it, you can unlock mini games, and apparently those are all shitty too. But there's one called Great Island Escape or something, where you choose from 2 or 3 villagers, and then you need to collect resources in order to build a raft to escape an island. And each villager has their own weaknesses and strengths. Like one might be good at fishing, another might be good at getting coconuts or something. And apparently it's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, apparently it's really good. But probably not worth getting, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival for. But I almost hope that they consider turning that into a bigger thing, because they did it with Captain Toad. So why not do it with Animal Crossing Shipwrecked Edition,
Right.
Why not?
I'm curious now. I want to see what this looks like.
Yeah.
Amiibo Festival. I'm going to look it up while we're talking. But anyway, yeah, the reason I kind of shrugged off the Animal Crossing thing was because of the Amiibo stuff, which is just intense. Like I went to the store because I had to buy that the Windows to fix my computer, and I saw there's so many Animal Crossing Amiibos just on the shelf.
Because you need
and there was tons of cards too.
Yeah, because you need a certain minimum of Amiibos just to play the goddamn thing, which is shitty in several aspects. Because one, you need to have several of them, so that's a lot of extra money spent other than the game itself. 2, it's insulting because you can't even use your villager amiibo. Like, if I could have at least used that as part of my collection, it would have softened the blow a little bit, but I can't. So the fact that you need a whole set of them and I can't use the one I do have sucks.
Yeah, that's not cool.
And 3, the fact that you need that stuff to play the most mediocre game in existence, where you're just literally rolling dice, reading 3 sentences or so, rolling dice, reading a few sentences. Oh, look, I won.
Yeah, listen, and I'm looking at this mini game right now while we're talking, and I see why it could be interesting, and I'm gonna, watch more of it later. But I'll tell you what, Animal Crossing is a game that I could spend 30 hours in and really just enjoy it. Dude, New Leaf, I probably have like 50, 60 hours. Um, and, I want to listen, it's like we get one major Animal Crossing per system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the Wii U Animal Crossing? We wanted a legit one. And I'm ready for a bit of a revamp to the Animal Crossing formula.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wii U would have been perfect for it with the touchscreen. So, and instead of that, we got this. That's why people were upset. It's like the same reason people didn't want Federation Force. This got way less flack than Federation Force did. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to people expecting and wanting a main... What?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, they wanted a main entry into the series, and I'm hoping that Nintendo has something Animal Crossing related that's going to be really interesting, really different, really new. Playing, it feels new, that would be great, because up until now, the Animal Crossings have all felt very similar, and that's okay, but I'm ready for a new formula on the NX. I hope the NX has a new Animal Crossing, because we didn't get it on the Wii U, and we're not going to get it on the Wii U, because the Wii U's it's almost over.
It's almost dead.
The NX is being prepped for whenever. So yeah. Anyway, continue.
What you reminded me of? Did Federation Force ever come out? What's going on with that?
It's in limbo still. I don't.
They probably saw the negative reception, and was just like, should we keep doing this? If because the thing is, no matter how good of a game they make it at this point, it's not going to sell. when your first impression is that bad. I mean, you're right. They could rebrand it. They could just say, we heard your concerns. We agree that maybe our first presentation wasn't up to par. We've modified the game a bit to address some of those things, and here's the new Federation Force, if they really want to stick with it.
They should really probably just call it something different if they want to do rebranding. Because, it was just like, okay, the chibi style, the blitzball bullshit, whatever... just the whole package just made people angry, and if they want to really remedy that, they have to make it not a Metroid game, which is too late for that. They can't backtrack that much, or they have to make it more of a Metroid game, or they have to just keep doing what they're doing but make it look better and call it something else. So yeah, the game is pretty much fucked right now. It's in limbo until someone figures out what the hell to do with it. So I wish them luck, because I'm sure it would have been a fine game, but not one that I'm eager to play.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I swear there's at least one other thing worth talking about in the Direct other than Cloud, and I can't think of what.
There's a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Picross thing, which, we briefly touched on. I'm a big Picross fan, and I think the concept's interesting. But at the same time, I can get probably a very superior Picross game for $5 or less.
Right.
So,
and not one you have to pay for hints or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you can play it for free, but then you'll very quickly hit a paywall. And that paywall, in order to unlock unlimited playing, is apparently about $30. Apparently it does some nice things. It does do apparently some forward-thinking things for, a very simple, standard puzzle genre. I'm not going to go too in-depth just because I know I'm one of the, maybe 2 people in this stream, in this chat right now that actually cares about Picross. But point is, I'm probably not going to get into it. Maybe someday, but not right now. So Cloud, I guess.
Yeah, how'd you feel about Cloud?
I think it was cool. Why not? It's... I kind of wish they had gone at least with a character that was already on a Nintendo console at some point. A Final Fantasy VI character, maybe? I don't know. But at the same time... Or Chrono. Where's Chrono? I want Chrono.
Don't get me started.
But,
Don't get me started.
No, I do understand their decision that Cloud is much more... He's easily the most iconic Final Fantasy character, if you ask me. Or one of the most iconic.
Sure. I think he is the most iconic.
Yeah. I think that his portrayal in Smash is awesome. That's, I feel, the way Cloud should look in an HD version. Not with, extra frills on his shirt, not in his Advent Children style, which they made available, and that's fine.
Sure.
But he is... the art design in it is very solid colors. keeps the exaggerated shape of his hair, but still highly detailed character modeling. It just looks great. It's how I imagine Cloud should look in an HD setting.
They do a great job with Smash Brothers. Look at Mega Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just, I thought it was great. So, I mean, the announcement was just hype as balls. Like, if anything, Cloud's inclusion in Smash was worth it just for that moment of gaming history in my life. Just to remember when they announced Cloud. Same thing with when they announced Sonic on the Smash Bros. Dojo, and the site broke and everyone literally shit their pants at the same moment.
Yeah, and, it was cool.
And we had to spend weeks cleaning it.
But here's the thing, I'm not a big Sonic fan, so for me it wasn't. I mean, the historical, value of Sonic being announced was amazing. However, for me, I was like, oh, cool. I didn't actually actively lose my stool.
Yeah.
But when I watched Nintendo Direct and I saw the stars and I heard the first 3 notes,
it was just like, no. Everyone said that out loud. Don't even pretend that you didn't. I know I did. I was just like, no.
I completely lost my shit. I was so excited because I thought it was going to be the Final Fantasy VII remake on the NX or something. And then when it said Smash Brothers, I was like, Sakurai, you motorboating son of a bitch. You did it.
Like it? Yeah.
I like very much.
You know what would have been great?
Yeah.
If at the end of the Cloud announcement, they had another surprise and it was a joke character like Kate Sith or something.
That would be
Bugenhagen.
Cool. Oh man. My god, imagine him.
What would he even look like? Because the thing is, Cloud, I can imagine, even with a shitty low poly model on PS1, I can imagine what he would look like tall. Probably because we've seen lots of art of it, even at the time.
And he was tall in the game in the art. And
I gotta look up Bugenhagen concept art.
Yeah, no, I've never seen Bugenhagen, or I've always called him Bugenhagen. I've never seen him as tall.
I don't know if there's any official concept art. I see some various interpretations. There's one where he's sitting on like a yoga ball, and that's why he looks so weird. Because in the game, he's like floating on a sphere.
I just got someone named Beth Bugenhagen. What the fuck?
And he has in most interpretations, he has like Red 13's little hair clip thing. I always thought it was weird that Red 13's weapon was a hair clip. Did that ever?
Yeah, it's strange. Like, I never even thought twice about that.
I always thought twice about it. I was just like, how does that work? Like, why is that a thing?
It's weird because
bite people.
He bites them.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, I guess Kate Sith has a megaphone, but he at least like hits them with it, right?
Yeah.
So, what? A hair
Who
clip?
knows? I think you've really stumbled onto something important.
Yeah.
What the fuck does Bugenhagen actually
What is
look
he?
like?
Yeah, exactly.
Is he half man, half ball? Is he sitting on a ball?
Does he not have legs and he just floats? Like is it magic? Does he cast float? Does he have float materia on him and he casts float on himself to perpetually float? Does he what is it?
I think he does, but there's never been, as far as I can tell, and I'm looking this up now too. There's no concept art for Bugenhagen. He's
just such an anomaly of a character. I gotta look it up. Hang on.
But in a few years, our questions will be answered. You know that. That's the cool thing.
That's
with the remake.
Really cool. I didn't think of that. That's true.
Currently, the #1 reason to be interested in Bugenhagen.
I guess this is official. Is this official? I need to see if this is official or a mix of fan things, but this is on the Final Fantasy Wiki. And this is... Oh, wow, Citra Spirit 2. Okay, I'm going to link this in chat. And I'll link you. And I'll put it on the goddamn stream.
Oh, yeah.
You see that?
Even if it is official, it doesn't really answer too many questions.
Not too much, but a little bit. It makes it slightly clearer.
Now you know he's also ball. He's human and ball. For anyone that doesn't know, this is just a peripheral but very important character in Final Fantasy VII. That is just a man on a floating green ball, and it's a very bizarre looking character. Yeah, it's who the hell knows, man.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, how would he even look in HD? But yeah, point back to the original point, it would have been cool if they had announced some kind of second joke character like Kate Sith or something, or even like a Final Fantasy VI character just alongside Cloud. Like, just when you thought that this announcement could not get any more hype, surprise, motherfucker. Maybe something like that, you know. That'd be...
Well, I mean, the character, you know, most people would have wanted would be Sephiroth, so that you could have Cloud versus Sephiroth. But for me, I would have preferred a Final Fantasy VII.
I mean, we have Irgez for that.
Yeah, that's true. Which I played recently, and it's not that amazing.
No,
but,
it's not good at all. It's terrible, actually.
The thing about it is, you know, I love Cloud as a character because he's cool and he's a big part of my teenage years. Like, I loved his character design when I was younger. As I got older, kind of, but I still appreciate Cloud. Having just streamed Final Fantasy VII again this year, I was super fucking hyped for this character. I couldn't wait. I still can't wait to play as Cloud. I think it's gonna be great. Midgar, the stage looks great.
Yeah, it looks good, but
it's not gonna, you know, you got to put it on Omega form. But
well, here's how I feel about that. I feel if you look at Melee and 64, there were more stages that took place on the actual inside the actual world and on the actual level. And since Brawl and Smash 4, a lot of the more iconic levels take place on floating platforms a mile in front of the actual iconic world.
True.
Like Porky's was like that. Pork City.
Porky's Butthole.
Porky's Butthole.
Butthole.
I don't know. I feel like they could have made a cool level out of Midgar that wasn't just floating platforms a mile in front of Midgar. I like that they're incorporating the summons and stuff. Like, that's pretty cool. And I think from a gameplay standpoint, it's going to be just fine. Just thematically, I wish they had done that. I wish they had done something cool with it. They did with Foresight in Melee. They had you climbing the goddamn skyscrapers and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there were some great stages that really felt integrated into the game, or like Great Fox, for example. But you know, you weren't a platform in front of Great Fox. However, Midgar is so iconic from that angle, being on the cover of the game. You know, people know what Midgar looks like from a distance. And if you were on Shinra Tower, you know, the only thing I could think of that would make sense is maybe you're on the edge of Midgar, or like you're on a Mako reactor platform.
They could have even still had that stuff in the background and then had the foreground be buildings as well. Like, because it's a big enough city that you could be fighting on some buildings, which on their own are not indicative of Midgar, but you'd still see the iconic Shinra Tower in the background.
That would have been fine.
That would have been fine,
okay with that.
But instead they just did some arbitrary platforms. I don't know. I just feel it's wasted potential. But at the same time,
it doesn't bother me as much as you might imagine. However, you are correct. But I would also say that they probably wanted to get a view of the whole city. Yeah. From a certain height.
And I imagine just from a production standpoint, it's just flat out easier, and they're not going to spend forever modeling, you know, various buildings and coming up with cool interactions unless it was in the game from the start.
And this wasn't even the result of the poll. They were developing Cloud before the poll. Yeah. You know, the amount of work that you got to put into, because they put a lot of work into Cloud. Like, his moveset looks, you know, with the limit breaks, there's the stage, there's the Chocobo costume. So it looks like they were, you know, they put some effort into getting Final Fantasy into Smash, which is great. But, you know, again, I agree with you. It would have been nice to see another Final Fantasy character, Butts or Terra.
I mean, I'm happy with Cloud, but it just would have been extremely hype if they just said, like, oh, this isn't just a cash grab at the most popular character. There's also this just for the fans. You know.
Check this out. Vivi or a black mage?
If Vivi, even just a black mage, but if Vivi was in Smash, oh my god.
Because Mike and I were talking about this, right? You have a choice. The most iconic Final Fantasy VII character or Final Fantasy character that's going to make everyone lose their shit and like ride the hype train to the rings of Saturn would be Cloud. Yep. Because Final Fantasy VII was such a huge game. It's enlarged in itself into the consciousness of gamers, and also there's something kind of like forbidden about Cloud and Nintendo, because Final Fantasy VII also represented the split of Nintendo and Square. That was the first Final Fantasy game entirely on Sony. It was like, all right, later Nintendo, You know, that was the game that almost pushed Sony ahead of Nintendo during the N64 PS1 days, right? So you have this game that represents a lot of animosity between Nintendo and Square. And then that character to be on a Nintendo system, I think that represents a few things. It represents that Square is back, so to speak, or they're, you know, it represents some forgiveness, but it also shows people like, holy shit, you know, this character that everyone knows is going to be on the system, and it's just a great way. It's a system seller too. It is. I mean, let's face it. There's going to be a lot of people that buy the Wii U this Christmas because Cloud is in it. So that's good. But personally, me and Mike were talking like, okay, if not Cloud, what is the most iconic Final Fantasy character? Squall? Not really. That's just black hair Cloud.
Just Black Mage, really.
Just
I would
the
think.
black. I mean, Zidane, any of those guys? No, not really. I mean, main characters. Terra. Who's the main character of Final Fantasy VI? Terra. But you mostly see like Edgar, Sabin, and
Celis
Locke as well.
Yeah, Locke.
You see a lot of characters.
You do. They're pretty equal in that game. I would argue.
Cecil.
Sorry, go on.
Well, Cecil, you're from Final Fantasy IV, which is, you know, not exactly iconic. For a lot of people, don't even know what he looks like.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah, Cloud is the best choice, but Black Mage is second best choice.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, if it's Japan, Lightning, because they've got a huge hard-on for Lightning.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah, are you kidding? Why do you think they made fucking 3 Final Fantasy 13s? And made the third one all about Lightning. They love Lightning. And I think a lot of people here like Lightning, too. Even I'm, like, kind of partial to Lightning. I don't think she's, you know, the boss to end the sauce, as they say.
Well, who do you like better, Lightning or Cloud?
Oh, Cloud, easily. But, I mean, what I'm saying is...
better character development, Lightning or Cloud?
Cloud, still.
Wow.
Lightning doesn't have too much character development, but she's still interesting enough because she's not too typical. She kind of takes, like, the archetype broody male, but it's a female without being crazy bubbly and, like... I don't know. I generally am okay with Lightning. I don't think she's the best by any means. I can name several characters that are more iconic and better than her to me. But what I'm saying is there's enough traction behind her that she's a pretty good contender, at least in Japan.
Okay. See, I had never played any of the games.
At least when in today's context. I'm sure in a couple years that may be different. Maybe we'll all love Noctis or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that, you know, Noctis reminds me of. Is that his name?
Yeah, Noctis. Noctis. It literally means night is.
I mean, it's a cool name. I don't dislike it because we've had Squall, we've had Zidane, we've had Cloud. I mean, Cloud is a really dopey name for a main character.
That's a bad name. The only reason we're okay with it is because he's so iconic and we kind of just grew up with it.
Yeah, it's like when you have a band that has such a stupid... Like Pink Floyd is a really, really weird name when you think about it, but you just associate now Pink and Floyd with psychedelic sounds, man. There's nothing psychedelic about the words Pink and Floyd put together.
Or like when your favorite band is named after a movie rental service.
When you change one letter, it becomes a different thing. But yeah, sure. I get what you're saying.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
All right. No, it's okay. You can rent movies from Redbox if you need to.
Yeah, you guys.
Movies for your mind, man.
Yeah, for your ears.
For your ears, man.
But no, Cloud is a stupid name. Lightning's a stupid name, but slightly better than Cloud, I think. Squall is okay, just because it's not a typical weather term. Like, it is a term, but...
Squall's a pretty cool name, generally.
Generally, it's alright.
It's not as bad as some of the other ones.
It's namey, at least, you know?
Squall. And it's it fits the character.
Titus's name is very reflective of... It's reflective of his being, in the sense that it should be Titus because of the weather theme and tides and how much water is a huge theme in Final Fantasy X. But instead it's pronounced Titus. It's like they came so close to having pure coherency and then doofiness ruined it. Yeah. That's how I feel about Titus's character.
You know, I never even fucking considered that Tide and Titus Because I just always thought it was Titus, and now I call him Tinus.
Tinus.
So, it's like, what the hell happened there?
But no,
Whatever.
it's
Well,
Titus. It's that Titus is wrong. That would make too much sense.
Here's my unpopular opinion. You say that Twilight Princess is maybe one of your least favorite Zelda games, which some people would disagree with. I
You
think
can't
Final
disagree with my
Fantasy X.
opinion.
How dare
Damn,
they? This is the
it's
internet.
my opinion. Jeez.
Ugh, God, opinions. God, man.
Sorry. No,
There
it's
should be a way to shut people down immediately before they offend you. Let's ban everyone.
Yeah.
Now here, listen. My unpopular opinion that I get hate for is that I think Final Fantasy X is overrated, and I think it's not that good.
No, I agree.
I think it has its moments, but I didn't grow up with it. I played it years later in life, and I thought Final Fantasy X was pretty mediocre as far as Final Fantasy games go.
I like it a lot.
Has
I
some
think
great
it's-
systems.
I think it's one of the better games in the series, but the things it does bad, or the things that did not age well about it, are really bad. Like the pacing behind the voice acting. Just awkward. Like how they'll say something like, "What do you think of?" or "Don't you agree with this, Yuna?" Yes.
Yeah.
Like and like there's a huge
was-
amount of
yeah.
silence just to say the most rushed version of a single syllable word. Or like, for example, the victory thing. Victory! Victory! How they're all
Yeah.
kind of building up and there's no point where they agree to do it. They just all go silent for a second, and then all of a sudden, like some weird ass uncanny hive mind, they start chanting victory all at once, simultaneously, no planning. Those little weird uncanny things in
It's
the voice
because-
acting really
It's
bug me.
because there was a transition between read dialogue and spoken dialogue, and it didn't fully nail the spoken dialogue. It was written as, I think, mostly written in the style of old Final Fantasy, but suddenly you have voice acting, and you got to write dialogue a little
Yeah.
bit differently.
And
Because it's when you read it in your mind in like the older games, you can deal with camp. It's part of the
that's
video
true.
gamey
That's
charm.
very true.
Yeah.
But let's
But not
try
just the
this. You
story.
ready? We're
Yeah,
going to start saying victory separately, just kind of getting excited. Then we need to stop and then come back in together with a unison chant without fucking it up.
What was same chant? Victory.
Victory. Yep. You ready? So we're going to start just by saying it on our own, just getting pumped. And then together we're going to stop, and then we're going to come back in total unison chanting it. You ready? Skype's going to fuck it up, but we'll try. All right, you ready? Victory. Victory.
Victory.
Victory.
Victory.
Victory.
Victory.
Victory.
Victory.
Victory. Victory. You see it?
It's
doesn't-
almost impossible, even knowing your rules.
And they do it with 4 or 5 people. I know I'm harping on
Yeah.
like the most minor scene in the game.
You are.
But,
You are. There's more things about Final Fantasy X that bother me, which is the pacing of it was weird. There was some. It felt a little lame. Story didn't really do it for me. The characters felt empty. I didn't like them.
Dude, you have to like Auron at least.
Auron
Everyone
was
likes
great.
Auron. Everyone does.
Yeah, and then I like that Waka guy because he was voiced by Bender.
I liked him a little bit, but I didn't really care for that many other characters. And honestly, I just felt like the game was a weird transitory phase where they were trying to like kind of phase out the old and phase in the new, and it just didn't quite work. And the story just felt a little too pedestrian for me. I don't know what that word means in this contest.
Pedestrian, yes.
I don't know what it means. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's a pretty good game. I like it. I think it's one of the better entries in the series. But again, the things that didn't age well, like some of the visuals and
Yeah.
the pacing with the dialogue and the writing, and
Yeah.
I don't know, the sphere grid in particular was not that good at all.
It had some good ideas. The battle system was good for
Yeah, the battle system I think is the strongest part of the game actually.
sure, yeah, and you get to use all your characters.
Yeah,
That was cool.
you could tell they were just trying something really new, and I liked that a lot. I think it just really worked out for them.
Do you remember when Kimari is watching Yuna and Tidus get it on for like the first time, and he's like in the distance,
No.
like he's just back behind a blue mushroom, just like with his arms
No.
crossed, like staring at them in approval.
No,
You don't
No.
remember that?
no. Is it?
Let me show you how the blue lion men approve of copulation. and then you see him just like staring at them and like in approval while they get it on.
Can I find this? Kamari watches. I'm just gonna YouTube Kamari watches and see if anything comes up. Hornless.
I actually think that I might be remembering it incorrectly.
Wait, were you kidding or?
I think I'm kidding. I'm not sure.
Okay, I wasn't sure if
maybe
you were
it's something
actually
that Mike-
referencing an awkward part of the game.
No, I think Mike told me that there was a moment where Kimari watches, and then I remember it happening.
I think
But I
Mike
don't
was just fucking with you, maybe. Someone needs to find this in chat if this is real. Does anyone else know about this? I think Mike was just fucking with you.
They may have. There is a part where the camera did turn away. Kimari was smiling too. Damn perv cat. That's from 5 years ago on GameFAQs. So the question was, did they get it on?
Who get it on?
Did Tidus and Yuna do it, right? That's what it says.
I mean, it
And
depends
then-
how sex works in the Final Fantasy X verse, because clearly water you can breathe in.
But clearly Kimari was, he was watching, but then he left shortly after. It was real. It was real.
It was real?
Oh my God.
I need to see this. I have to see this. I want to see him, like, look at it, say, this is normal, and then walk off, you know? Kamari was just a shit character overall. I'm sorry if I offend anyone in chat by saying that. I feel Kamari. The game could have taken Kamari out and been just as good, if not better, because it's just more. It's just a useless character in the battle system. He just barely filled out the blue mage archetype that they needed, and otherwise, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't really crazy about him as a character, but anyway, I just found something that I found the love scene. Now, if anyone could find Kimari smiling while this happens, that would be fantastic.
And could you link me? We'll watch it together. We'll try to pinpoint
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
Okay.
There it is. And again, it's a small moment that Mike had overstated into Kimari was like watching them like penetrate.
All right, let's watch
like
together.
he was
you
like
ready?
staring there with his arms
Oh wait,
crossed.
this is long. Shit. Where's the
Yeah,
actual scene start?
I don't know. Yes, this is good.
Let's watch this scene together and see if we can spot Kamari. Let me see where it starts.
Watch you humans.
I'm starting at 4:06. Okay. You ready? Let me know when you're there, and we'll start simultaneously.
I don't think I want to watch this whole thing with you.
Are you sure?
be
It'll
honest.
be kind of personal, and
It's at around 10 minutes, they said.
it'll bring us closer.
What'll I do?
At around the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Oh, there it is. I see it. It's just a brief scene
Oh, and
after
he
they
walks
get it
off.
on.
Always then.
Yeah, and he's just staring.
The game
And he
has.
just smiles.
I think that's just to
Maybe
display that
You should head back to
Kamari is
campus.
starting to come to terms with Tidus, and
Roger.
his name's Boner in the video.
Sorry, just noticed that too.
He's coming to terms with Boner and Yuna finally getting close, and he's okay with it. I don't know if he has any awareness that they just snogged, as they say across the pond. But
I'm sorry. Boner.
Boner.
I'm telling you, he watched that whole fucking thing happen. He watched them in the sphere underwater. He watched them like make love. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know. Did he watch all that? I don't think he did.
Nah, he didn't. He didn't.
But-
Just being a jerk.
But I forget what I was going to say about Kamari. The game does that a lot too, where they'll have awkward moments where it just zooms in on characters for no reason and then switches to another character that actually is dialogue. Like, which would be one thing if they had much expression, but they don't.
There really isn't a whole lot going on behind their eyes.
Like, sometimes. I mean,
It's like watching the Star Wars prequels.
it depends on the character and the context. Like, I guess Riku had a fair amount of emotion, kind of.
Yeah. Waka
But-
would scream every now and then.
Or do you remember the eye? Do you remember that part? It's like the most.
I remember dodging lightning on a chocobo. That's my main memory of Final Fantasy X.
Let me see if I can find this. This is probably. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's a short. It's a short clip. I'll link you. I linked it in chat. There's a part where Titus goes "I" and his voice cracks. Like, things like that I just don't get, like, even with
Seymour went to
localization.
Macarena Temple.
Macalania Temple.
I don't know if you're
Aye.
watching, but I am.
I am.
Aye?
Where is it? Where's the
It's
I?
because they're making
Macalania Temple.
Aye?
a Macarena reference. That's basically
They say Seymour went to
Oh.
what's going on.
Hey, Macarena. I Macarena.
To Macarena.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I feel
Aye?
violated.
Oh god, what is this nonsense? Get out of here. Okay. So, just things like that. I mean, I guess it was a pop culture reference, so I just remember it as a really awkward I? Lots of little things like that that just added up into a very derpy experience. But overall, I still did like the game quite a fair amount, at least a lot more than you did, so.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. People have different tastes, Like, I thought Twilight Princess was generally pretty good, on the better end of the spectrum of Zelda games. Maybe not. No, now that I think about it, never mind. But yeah, Final Fantasy X. Anyway, the point is rewinding Smash Brothers. Let's get back to Smash, and then we'll
Sure.
kind of end our video game discussion for a bit. I wanted to just say this. At the end of the Cloud announcement, I just want everyone to know that I was very hyped, and I was very excited for Cloud, and I'm still very excited for Cloud. There's a rumor that December 5th, there was like a screenshot of or a picture of a GameStop computer or something, where it said Smash Brothers DLC December 5th. It's a rumor. I don't have any credibility other than that, so don't take it to heart. But just to add a little fuel to the hype. So yeah, I'm very excited, and I hope it works, and I hope there's definitely going to be a Cloud soon. I want to play as him soon.
Yeah.
But we're also getting another Smash Direct.
Oh, yeah? I
We
thought
are
that
this
was the
month.
last one, wasn't it? Maybe not.
No. We're gonna get a Smash announcement probably for the poll
Smash 5.
this month.
comes.
Yeah, sure.
Kerfuffle.
Sakurai he like, you see him and he's just become a skeleton. He's become a ghoul from Fallout. He's like, I hope you're like. So yeah, this month we're gonna get another Smash announcement, and it should be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's all I had to say about video games that I can think of. What do you want to do next? You want to do some Q&A? We don't have a lot of time left.
Yeah, Q&A. Well, we could do Q&A. I mean, the spoops can be another time, perhaps.
Yeah, because even if it's not Halloween, I want to do these spoops. That's fine with me.
Spoops are fun. They're
Yeah.
fun all year.
And since it's a live cast, we should do a Q&A. What I wanted to ask, too, I guess before we do that, later tonight is the Game Awards. Have you heard of this thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Are you
yes.
going to be watching?
Is it just Sony?
No, it's the Game Awards. It's like Game Awards. Dorito Pope,
What channel can I watch this on?
Apparently, this year. It's only online. So it's just going to
Yeah,
be
I'll
streamed.
probably I'll watch it. Sure.
I was going to ask if you wanted to do a commentary track. We could even just release these as 2 episodes. Just do one and then release the commentary track a week or 2 after, and that could be that.
I'll consider it because I want to take a break from speaking for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it
So-
starts in a few hours, but I wanted to see if you were interested in doing that. But if not, that's fine.
I'll tell you what. Okay. Check this out. My friend Paul, who I haven't seen in years,
Uh-huh.
it might come by tonight to hang out,
Okay.
and he wants to take a look at my computer too.
Okay.
If that happens, then no. If by chance he does not come by, then I would love to do a commentary track with you. How long is the thing?
I asked chat. I didn't quite get an answer. It's funny. I asked when does it start and how long is it, and someone responded 3 hours. I was like, to which answer or which question?
All right.
But
fair
no,
enough.
it starts in a couple hours. I'm guessing it's going to be a couple hours long.
All right. I might just tell my friend Paul to come over tomorrow night then. So
If you want to do
Why
it, I
don't-
mean, I was saying as part of the stream I'm doing, I could do something until it starts and then get you back on Skype and we could just watch it together, shoot the shit.
sure. Yeah, and I can reinstall Steam by the time that happens. Yeah, well, I'll think about it. Let's track this out.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that trying to think mechanically how it would work, maybe we'll discuss it a little bit because if we're gonna hear it, that would appear on the I guess they could just mute the video when they sync it up when they watch it in real life.
Sure.
Whatever. We'll figure it out, I'm sure. But if that's something that interests you, just give me a heads up, probably within a half hour or so after this episode ends, and that way I can plan.
Okay.
Okay. You want to do some Q&A? Yeah. So feel free to ask questions. Nothing too serious, I guess, this time, just because we don't want to spend a long time on any one question. Video game related is a plus, but not a requirement. You can ask us anything, really. Literally anything.
We'll try to be concise with our answers too. So that's one thing that I tend to be long-winded with answers.
Yeah,
I'll try very, very hard to be a little bit more. What the fuck happened to Vinny's computer? I explained it already, but here's in a nutshell. I upgraded, incompatibility issues, and now I have to start fresh. But I have all my data. I just have to re-download and make compatibility work.
Yep.
Thoughts on Project M?
What's the sloppiest thing I've ever eaten? I can actually tell you this because it happened to me last week. There's a chain here called Whataburger that's pretty good, and they have this Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich that's also pretty good. It's normally great and like relatively normal sauced. Last week I get it, and the whole bag is literally drenching with ranch and buffalo. I'm like, wait, are you serious? Like, you're giving me this? Or like, yeah, take it. And like, I open it and my hands are sopping the second I touch this thing. I couldn't even taste the chicken. All I tasted was buffalo and ranch. It was just so messy. What's the sloppiest thing you've ever eaten?
You know, I got to be honest. It's really hard. That sounds sloppy as shit. I've had probably way more sloppy food than I can think of right now. But you know, for me, sloppy is worse when you're at okay, street meat, for example. There's a festival, the San Gennaro Festival in New York, and it's just a big street meat festival that's actually not completely shit. Like, people that have been doing this for years. And I got a sausage and peppers hero that was wet. It was like drenched with like juice, and I had to walk around with juice, like sticky juice in my hands for hours after that.
Oh, jeez.
You know, because I was like, napkins will be good enough. But I was like just too lazy to go to a bathroom and wash for like an hour. It was about an hour, not to exaggerate. So that was a pretty sticky thing. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
How someone asked about Project M. How do you feel about that?
I mean, they can't work on it forever. I mean, it's no shock that they're gonna stop working on it at some point. Like, why wouldn't they stop working on it? Do you know what it is, though, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I mean, how I feel about the project itself. I mean, it makes sense. Brawl kind of sucked. Its physics were bad, and a lot of people missed Melee's physics, but they liked the character selection of Brawl, and they were able to mod it. So why not? I mean, even if Brawl's fine the way it is, right? Just go play Melee. I mean, that's my attitude. I just play Melee because I like Melee, but I also understand the attitude behind Project M. But they've been working on it for what, 7 years? Why would they? It's about time. I'm surprised this is a shock to anyone that they stopped working on it.
Well, it's just it came so suddenly after an Art Tuesday where they revealed art. And that's why people were upset, because they felt like they had teased new stuff.
Yeah.
And then this happened, but it seems like it seems like they got cease and desisted, and they're keeping it quiet.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. And fine. That's Nintendo. It's par for the course for Nintendo. So whatever. I don't know. I'm just not. I don't feel too strongly any way about it. It seems like everyone on the internet shitting themselves right now about it. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I can understand why someone would feel that way, but for me, it's not fazing me. So, let's see. What was your favorite Flash game as a kid? That's a good question.
My boy Mofongo.
Your boy Kakongo.
Whoa. Hey. We don't say that word. There's Wolbachia around.
Wolbachia. Male to female.
These are the best workers. Because we're...
My favorite Flash game as a kid. I gotta really think. I really liked the Pico school shooting game, where you were protecting.
Yeah, any of the Newgrounds stuff was good.
They weren't good games, but I liked them when I was a kid. I mean, they were my favorite back then. What else was really good? The Flash games I don't know if it was a Flash game, but there was that drug dealer game where you had to like buy a bunch of different kinds of drugs and sell them. You remember that?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember
What
what
was
it's
it called? Mafia something? No, right? Epic
No,
Mafia.
yeah,
no.
drug mafia maybe.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that. Just all the games back then were so doofy, and like the early age of Flash games. But eventually, I played Meat Boy. Even before Super Meat Boy was a thing, I played the original Meat Boy, and I was like, "Whoa, this is really freaking good." It was just so much better than like
a lot of stuff on it.
any Flash game to date that I could think of. It was just next level. It was like this is an actual complete video game. Drug Wars was the name of that game.
Oh, okay. I just learned that from the chat that one of my videos is on Pornhub. It's the Mario corruption video, and also apparently a Fallout video of mine is on Pornhub. So okay,
Interesting.
yeah.
Dope Wars was the name of the game. Did you have a favorite Flash game that we didn't mention?
I
don't
can't
know.
think of it. Think of it. Probably a tower defense thing.
Yeah, those are always good. Let's see what else. What was your hype level? Oh, the new Star Wars. Did you want to talk about that at all? Because I know you're a Star Wars guy.
I'm getting. I was pretty hyped about it. I'm still pretty hyped about it. My friend Tyler got tickets for me and a few of my friends.
Yeah.
For 7:00 the day before.
Uh-huh.
So I'm excited to see it. I'm gonna see it that day, and it's gonna be great.
Cool.
I can't wait for it. It looks like they're doing a good job with it, and
I mean,
distancing it from the prequels, which is fine by me.
all flaws aside, I'm sure it's still going to be a pretty good movie. Like,
It's gonna be entertaining. at the very
it's either
least.
going to be great or it's still at least going to be an entertaining, solid movie. Like, they would have to really fuck up to make it like The Phantom Menace or something.
Yeah, I mean, it can only go up from here. So I'm pretty hyped. I'm pretty hyped.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna do a whole like Star Wars. It's like I'm gonna find a way to like do a thing where I just give my impressions about movies and stuff.
Yeah, dude. We'll do a Two on the Vine movie edition episode.
That sounds good.
Yeah, you could get I'm sure you have a movie buff friend or two that would be good to round out the discussion. Because I like movies a lot, but I wouldn't call myself a movie buff. Like, I'm just not knowledgeable and versed enough. I do love a lot of movies, and I certainly have favorites and stuff. But,
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would be happy to. Mike would be a good candidate for. He's a big movie person.
Yeah. X-Files hype, sure. Not as much as my girlfriend, or my girlfriend Vinny, or my girlfriend Carrie.
Right, both of his girlfriends. We're both really, really hyped for the X-Files.
Yep. What else? Have you ever played Deus Ex?
No.
Someone asked, is Rev Scarecrow the Deus Ex buff? And I would say, yeah, out of all of us. I do like Deus Ex a lot, but I never beat the original. I didn't play Deus Ex 2. So, yeah, Rev, I would say, is arguably the most Deus Ex buff person. Let's see. Surprising lack of questions. Vinny, you talk about being fascinated by glitches as a kid, but did you ever do any cartridge tilting or use faulty Game Genie codes to your games? I did. I've got a few too, but go ahead.
Yeah, I did some cartridge tilting. Sometimes when the game would have dust on it, like old NES games, and it got a little glitchy, I would leave the glitches on if I could play as that, because I thought that was great. It was just a way to breathe new life into the games I loved, and to just have a laugh. And also, when I discovered the Metroid door glitch, that was like discovering new worlds, which it was like corruptions, but you could get to all these weird areas, like these glitch areas in Metroid, and it was a lot of fun to fuck around with that. And Game Genie, I definitely had, and I used to find my own codes, which would sometimes do weird shit. I wasn't too into it. I wasn't like obsessive about it, but yeah, it was a fun hobby.
Yeah. For me, the only major or notable example I can think of is Ocarina of Time. I would always I would tilt the cartridge to get past Milo, right? I would always tilt the cartridge, and that would cause Link to just flip out and fly around. And I would do that until I actually got past him, but without having the sword. And then I would try to beat the first dungeon without a sword, which is 100% doable, I'm pretty sure. But
It is.
but I couldn't figure out how to do it when I was a kid. It was just something I was like, oh, this is cool. Whoa, I don't sword anymore. Ha ha ha. So I would do that for just kicks. What was the other half of the question? Game Genie. Final Fantasy VII was my first RPG that I really, really got into. Like, I had played a little Secret of Mana and Mario RPG before that, but I never played more than an hour or so. 7 was the first one I got deep into. And I was too young and did not get RPGs well enough, so I didn't get the point of leveling up. Like, I don't know, I didn't even think anything of it, so I just ran from every battle. And it got to the point where I just couldn't beat the bosses because I was so underleveled, and the first boss was Dine that did that in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I got a Game Shark just so I could give myself infinite HP. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. I've got all the HP. But it turned out it was just cosmetic. It just wouldn't make my numbers go down, but he still killed me after a few hits. And then at some point in dicking around with codes and stuff, I corrupted my save and had to start over. I think I had to start Final Fantasy VII over a good 4 or 5 times before I actually beat that thing when I was a kid. Before I actually started to do the battles and not run from everything till I was fucked. So,
There's something.
yep. Yeah, that's my Game Genie experience. Let's see. Vinny, not trying to spam, but did you get the Just Cause 3 art you sent on Twitter? The best thing to do is...
I think I just got it. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. You could also upload it to the Boru. Just tag
That's
it.
been a bit of a problem lately.
Oh, yeah?
There's no
Has it?
registration on the Buru. Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, we disabled it because, let's just say Adam Savage's anus was being spammed quite a bit.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Let's see. George Lucas agrees to do a full access interview with you while you play computer games. What game would you play first?
Oh, is there a game called Hack Fraud? No, I
think so.
I don't hate Lucas that much. I really
hack
don't.
fraud. I think .hack/fraud. It's that that weeb game.
My dislike for George Lucas has lessened. I almost view him as a tragic figure in a lot of ways, and I actually feel really bad for him. I've since learning some things. He's kind of dumb. He's kind of brilliant, but he's also just a very intriguing figure. And I would love to interview the guy, but I would love an open, honest interview with him. You know, I wouldn't want like his guarded answers. Like I would love to get to know the guy. Because I am such a huge Star Wars fan. It was a big part of my childhood. I would probably play Shadows of the Empire while I'm talking to him.
Yeah,
because
that was going to be my suggestion.
That game is kind of poopy, but it also has its great moments, just like George Lucas.
Yeah, that's a very good answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have you ever played any of Grim Fandango? I streamed it, but have you played it?
No.
It's pretty good. What else? Yeah, it's a pretty good game. Who hasn't cheated in a Final Fantasy game? Any more questions, guys? I'm probably just missing like 10 of them. What's your favorite Bad Dragon product? Is it the dildo? Is it the shower?
Tentacle.
It's the tentacle.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an interesting choice. I would have gone with the shower poof. The Bad Dragon shower poof.
Hey, I just got a water pick, like for my teeth.
Yeah.
And it's an electric toothbrush and a water pick, and it's first of all really good dental hygiene shit. Highly recommended if you could find one that's a good price, like on sale. But yeah, I mean, you just pop a tentacle on that fucking thing. It's good shit.
Yeah.
It's good.
Is it working for you? For on your teeth, of course.
Very much so. I've noticed an improvement already, and
Nice.
I floss now every day with it. So
Nice,
it's
dude.
great.
I'm happy
Yeah.
for you. Yeah. Benny and KY, genre of game you just don't like, regardless of quality.
Sports mostly.
I can appreciate sports, at least the more extreme ones like Blitz and NBA Jam and anything where they just disregard realism for fun. I'm always down with that. Like Rocket League, I guess, is sports technically. It's pretty good. But the only genre I can think of that I just never get into, regardless of quality, is like the grand strategy things like Europa Universalis and everything like that. I appreciate them for what they are, but I just can never get into them. And I think those are for very particular people anyway, so.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I see a few things I want to answer in chat, but before I do that, I just want to say, yeah, there's that. Those are hard. Any game that is like super intimidating mechanics, for example, EVE Online, I couldn't. I don't think no. Anything that involves a lot of numbers scares me away. But also a lot of type of games that are just really, 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 really hard to get into with that high skill ceiling. It's just, yeah, it's tough. So genre, sports games I can get into, like Mario Tennis, or like Hot Shots Golf, or stuff like that, like the more like party oriented sports. But anything like serious hardcore, like Madden type stuff, I'm out.
Yep. You should take Tomas Faella's question.
Oh yes, there will be shirts. I haven't heard back from Teespring, but we are supposedly in the process of getting 2 on the Vine t-shirts. So please keep your ears open for that. Maybe next 2 on the Vine. I will keep you guys updated.
Keep your ears open.
Keep your ears open. Oh wait, Darren wanted me to say a few things.
Oh sure.
Okay, 2 quick things. One, have I heard of the Crypt Underworlds? Yes, I've heard of it. I was offered
I'm gonna
to
pee while you're
interview.
doing this. So.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
The creator wants me to interview her, and I probably will at some point. However, I can't guarantee when, because of all this computer stuff, plus other stuff that I wanted to stream, plus just life being kind of crazy for me at the moment. So I will speak to her and hopefully get a chance to interview her. I'm looking forward to Crypt Underworld. I retweeted it actually when it first got posted, but that didn't stop like 30, 40, 50 people from emailing me and tweeting me about Crypt Underworld. So it's a sequel to Crypt Worlds. It's on Kickstarter. It just met its goal today. I'll probably tweet about it again. That being said, yeah, I mean, it's always a good idea to check my Twitter first to see if I know about something, because a lot of people will just kind of message me about it a lot, even if I do post about it. However, right now is just crazy. I can't specifically say when I'll have time for an interview, but yeah, so just wanted to throw that out there. It looks good. I'm excited for it.
Yep.
KY, Darren wanted me to mention a basketball player picture to you.
Huh. A basketball player picture?
A few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, we found, I don't know who found it, maybe I did, a picture of basketball players, like it was like a drawing, but they had like, it was naked basketball players, kind of.
Okay.
And they had really giant basketball playing devices.
Huh.
And
hands. So really big hands.
Sure, that's what they were. And well, me and Darren were talking earlier, and for some reason this basketball picture popped up. But one time, Ravi sent it to me. Oh my God.
Okay, this makes more sense now.
One time, years later, I cropped the picture so that I could send it to Darren and have him laugh. But I left the very, very tip of one of the basketball playing devices in the picture. And so it was like just a few pixels, but you could kind of tell. And I sent it to Darren, and he hated me for a long time. And we just discovered this. We just talked about this today, and it was a lot of fun. So there you go. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, good times, right?
That's a cool story.
Thanks for making me tell that story to KY, Darren.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at something.
No, please take your time.
Let's see what's going on in the chat.
If you have more questions, please ask. We'll take some more.
Please do. We could take a couple more, and then we'll be good. How long till this Game Awards thing? I'm gonna Google Video Game Awards, and then we could figure out. Produced by Jeff Kylie.
Mountain Dew Doritos.
Game Awards. Live tonight. Watch live now. What time is this thing? It doesn't give me a time. Nowhere on their official webpage does it just list a time right on the front page. And that's pissing me off.
It's 9 p.m. Eastern.
Is there a game series that you want to play but have not played yet? Vinny?
The Mario and Luigi saga.
Oh yeah, dude, you're missing out.
Yeah, those get recommended to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially my recommendation's Bowser's Inside Story, which might, I don't know. I don't know if the average Mario and Luigi fan would recommend that one if you're going to do one in the whole series, because they're pretty long games, or they can be long, like 20 hours or so. 5:30 Pacific. So we still have 2 more hours before the thing. Okay, cool.
yeah, about 2.5.
2.5 hours. Wait, 5:30,
So-
and then someone said 9 p.m. Eastern.
It says 9 p.m. Eastern on some website.
Okay, so yeah, 2.5 hours. Okay, cool. But yeah, that's a good game. You should play it.
Cool.
I can't think of
Where
any
do you get?
other than Minecraft.
Here's a question for you. Where do you get your Windows score for how good your computer is? Do you know where that is?
I go to the Microsoft store and I bring my computer in, and they get out their tape measure and their sonic screwdrivers, and they measure a few things, and I give them $300 and they give me a score. They print it out.
Good. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Also, the other series that I wanted to maybe give a shot at some point was Deus Ex series.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. There's a lot of series I would recommend to you. I'd recommend Xenoblade, like someone in chat. The first Xenoblade. I would recommend... There are a number of things. What else have I pestered you to play? Like, you should play this, SteamWorld Dig. I've been trying to tell you to
SteamWorld.
play. Historically, on the podcast, I've been mentioning it a lot, and you still haven't done it.
Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, but you did that.
Yeah.
Right, you did,
So
finally.
sometimes I do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes I do it. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up. There's games are there's a lot. Did you know that?
What? Huh?
Did you know that?
Do I know what? That there are a lot of games?
Games are a lot of them.
Yeah, but I only play shitty indie games, and those are all short, so I can keep up pretty well.
Because there's games, there are a lot of them.
Because there's games. There are a lot of games.
Yeah.
Some logic right there. Too many games. Anything going on with that?
No.
When is that
I haven't
this
even.
year?
I don't even know, and I haven't even signed up for PAX East yet because hotel stuff is confusing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for PAX East, but too many games. I'm pretty sure is gonna they're gonna hook us up. We'll see.
Oh, you should play Kim Kardashian Hollywood. That's what I opened my stream with yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. It's true.
No, but I did fix Frozen Anna's foot not too long ago.
Well, that's good. So here's how my experience with Kim K ended. So for reference, it's what you expect. The game is just a collectathon of shitty things that you can pay money for if you want, and you need to if you want to get anywhere. So about an hour in, I'm sticking with it. I'm humoring it and poking fun, and I find this cat. And the game says, "Would you like to adopt the cat for 10 Kim coins?" And I only had 5 Kim coins. So I look and I see I really want this goddamn cat. I want this cat, and I look at to see what their marketplace exchange rate is like, and I see I can buy 10 Kim coins for $5. And I wanted this cat, and I was like, you know what? Hyping up the 24-hour stream, doing some unusual shit for the sake of entertainment. Yeah, let's do it. I'll spend $10 on 5 Kim coins. So I get my 10 Kim coins. I'm up to 15. I spend another 10 on the cat, or $5, 10 Kim coins. Point is, I adopt this stupid cat. The game literally says you've adopted the cat and gives you some more collectibles, and that's it. That is what I wasted my $5 on. It did not let me name the cat. It did not let me bring the cat home to my apartment. It told me I was adopting the cat, and I paid $5 so I could adopt this cat, and the game just said, "Good job, you adopted it," and that was the end of the story. Could you imagine my rage?
That makes me angry.
I tried to be lighthearted and give it a chance and to make it funny, and then I just lost my shit because I just dropped $5 so that the game could say, "Good job." Didn't even let me name the fucking cat.
Yeah, that's bad, dude. That's $5 too. That's not even that's not a small amount of shekel for a fucking cat in a video game. You sacrificed for the sake of entertainment. and that's why you're legit. You know. That's I'm saying you know that's legit. I wouldn't recommend you do that ever again, but it is legit.
No, I'm never humoring that game ever again. I'm never touching it ever again. Not even for lulls, the coveted lulls of the internet.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Do you know I played? I'll tell you what I played. I played a game called Prosperity Path.
What's that?
It's an older thing I did maybe a year and a half ago. A year ago, something like that. It's basically this dude wants to cleanse your chakras and give you good karma by you playing his shitty games, which are really, really done on this horrible engine. And you can just collect incense and you collect like things, and then you collect charisma and you collect like power, empowerment, and you go through these shitty labyrinths and you touch these like meteorite fragments and other stones and weird shit that's all like new age shit. And then you get to the end of it, and it's like, buy more, right? And it's $1 for each of these. So you can buy one for anger management. You can buy one for addiction. There's like 30 or 40 different types of emotions you can cleanse with these games. And I did them a year ago. They were shit. I did it again just as a joke, as a gag. And I was like, all right, these are bad. Then I noticed that there was something that says a seance for Elvis.
Huh.
Right? So I could download a game that would let me talk to Elvis in a seance.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is perfect for streaming. I was like, the chat is going to love this. I'm going to have a good time with it. I'm going to have plenty of material. It's $1. I download it. It's the same shitty song in all the other games. You walk down a hallway, you collect your karma, and then you get to a room with a bunch of people in it, and then you get to ask Elvis 3 questions.
Oh,
and
yeah?
Elvis is just like, hello, how are you? What is your name? And it's like a shitty voice changer, like a text-to-speech. And then you type whatever you want, and then your character's like, hello, my name is... And then Elvis is like, thank you very much. And then another question. And then you talk to Elvis, and Elvis is like, what? And that's it. You get 3 lines of dialogue from quote-unquote Elvis. There is nothing Elvis-y about him. There is no specific relation to Elvis, and then the game ends. It's like 3 minutes of gameplay. There's nothing to imply that you're talking to Elvis, and then you're done. So, yeah, it was pretty bad. And then there was another one. I think I got, like, lottery luck. Like, I bought it on stream. It was, like, a thing where you could buy luck. And then you play it, and you walk down a hallway, and you get to the Buddha statue. It says you won. And then you're done. That's it. For $1. So you want to talk about losing money on stupid shit? There's plenty of ways to do it.
At least there was $1 and not 5, and that there was a journey involved
you're right.
there.
You
Mine,
are correct.
I literally spent $5 and it was done in 5 seconds. Like, it was just, the cat went meow, popped out a pile of cash, because that's what the game does. You collect cash in the game. And I collected the cash, and that was the end of the experience. It took, after I paid my $5, it was a grand total of maybe 10 seconds tops.
Wow, I at least got a little more gameplay than that. I'm not gonna lie, even though the seance was horrible, I still got at least more gameplay than that for $1.
I left a review on, because immediately after the game asked me if I wanted to rate it, or I forget, the game asked me, or I actively sought out the rating, but I left a rating. I left 1-star rating. I wrote a review saying I wasted $5 on pussy, and and that and then I explained my story.
Don't we always though?
Yeah.
Don't we always? Just life, you know.
I just explained my story that I spent $5 and I couldn't even name the cat or adopt it or anything like that, like it promised. And I said until the game fixes the cat meowcanics, that my 1-star remains, and once they fix that, I'll bump it up to a 5.
You wrote Meowcanics?
I did write Meowcanics.
You
or Mewcanics, I think.
You crazy, you motorboating son of a bitch.
Son of a gun. You motorboating son of a gun.
Unbelievable.
All right. I think we're good for this episode.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for t-shirts, guys, because they're going to be coming soon, presumably. If someone wants to send us a listener's mail, where would they do that, Vinny?
Number 2 on the Vinecast at gmail.com.
And where can they tweet us if they want to tweet us?
At number 2 on the Vine
You got
on
it.
Twitter.
Good job.
Thank God.
And we'll see you next time, everybody.
And we end with the sound of a motorcycle. Good night, everyone.
That's actually me riding away immediately after I hopped on and drove off. Okay, good night.
Good night.